Welcome to the audio-visual counterattack. Welcome to the RazörForce offensive. I am Generalissimo Fist, alongside Commissar Gell. Any words that you'd like to proffer to say AOC or even some of the faux right on our own side, the Dave Smiths of the world, you know, the Nick Fuenteses of any of these people? Any thoughts and prayers you'd like to throw out there?
Nothing that isn't laced with 4-letter words that we can't say within like the first 5 minutes of the YouTube video.
Rip Gurney Panders and his best buds in Venezuela. They might actually eat 3 square meals a day in the foreseeable future. Twitch thoughts and pinko prayers to you, buddy. So this actually broke while we were in the middle of live streaming, so we got to react in real time, so you know that we haven't wriggled out of our original stance. Go watch that. Actually, I still need to upload that, so you can't actually verify it, but if you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We were live streaming. My immediate reaction was good. There you are. I support glassing commies any day, anytime. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment, because a little bit more germane to a recent video, my most recent video on the stuff in Minnesota. Taryn, today in na 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 hey 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 goodbye news. Tim Walz. It's the last walls for Tim Walz, folks.
The walls are closing in on him.
Walls are closing in. Bring that up for us real quick, and we will read over it. But folks, Tim Walz, he is punching out. He has hit that eject button. He's not going down with the ship. Wow, Taryn, that's 2 authoritarian commie dictators taken out by Trump in as many days. Wow. Well done, Orange Man. Do you have that? We do.
Just keep the good times rolling.
Complete Walz destruction. Tim Walz drops his re-election bid amid Minnesota fraud fallout. This just broke a few hours ago. Trump took him out. Actually, a 20-year-old YouTuber took him out. That's the best part. This guy was almost the vice president. He was taken out by a 20-year-old with a freaking webcam. This is where we're at. By the way, the Nick Fuentes endorsed Tim Walz, who he called, and I quote, a genuine white guy compared to JD Vance. Fuck you, fucking spick. But anyway, continue. Go ahead and read. Let's go.
Tim Walz drops a re-election bid amid Minnesota fraud fallout. Minnesota.
Governor, no, you can go ahead and
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz announced Monday that he would be suspending his re-election campaign amid a scandal over state programs. Walz, the Democratic vice president nominee in 2024, was seeking a 3rd term to lead Minnesota. Yep. He announced his bid in September, and
they don't have 2-term limits in Minnesota. I had no idea.
Yeah, actually, that is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if he was reelected, it would be the first time the state had elected a governor for 3 consecutive terms.
So they don't have an explicated limit. That's interesting. He's faced declining approval ratings, you don't say, and increased scrutiny into alleged fraud into state programs, and ultimately decided to take himself out of the race. He was taken out, all right. Walz shared in a statement that he believed if he continued his campaign and gave it my all, he would succeed.
Yeah, I bet it was in the bag, buddy. I bet it was in the bag.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Quote, but as I reflected on this moment with my family and my team over the holidays, I came to the conclusion that I can't give a political campaign my all. Aw, buddy, there's no crying in capitulation. Every minute I spend defending my own political interests. What's the Let's analyze that statement for a moment. Defending my own political interests. He's implying there, he's essentially stating that the fraud in Minnesota is to his own political interest. This is essentially a tacit, not so tacit admission.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this.
Wow.
This might actually be the domino that takes down the Democratic Party.
This is wild.
If this money, all millions, we're talking about millions, possibly billions of dollars, was also being pumped into the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah.
For their funding, for their spending. Oh, it could take them all down.
Absolutely.
Potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned on the last stream, Tim Walz never made sense from a political acumen standpoint. But if he had access to a giant fraudulent money apparatus in an election cycle where, the Democrats were strapped for cash, they had to swap horses midstream, right, with Biden and everything. They only got access to some of his money. And I would remind you, fundraising was down before Biden dropped out. The DNC was strapped for cash in 2024. It's a big reason they lost. Suddenly picking Tim Walz makes a lot more sense if all of this money somehow winds up back in his pocket through a series of shell companies and whatever, I'm sure, political action committees. And I said this, I stand by it. I think when it's all said and done, that's really what this is going to come down to. Anyway, continue reading. I think we were at his own political interests. It would be a minute I can't spend defending the people of Minnesota against the criminals who prey on our generosity and the cynics who prey on our difference, Walz's statement said. Could you pick it up from there?
So I've decided to step out of the race and let others worry about the election while I focus on the work. Also, I'm a giant retard. I might have added that one.
No, Taryn, he's a great big knucklehead. That's all.
Oh, just lovable. I'm with Milo. He did something to his son.
Oh, man. Well, we saw him do something to his son on camera at the freaking
yanking
DNC.
him
What
like
was that?
He
yanked his arm out of his socket.
I was talking about something else.
Yeah.
The announcement.
Kind of a Rob Reiner thing going on. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud?
The announcement is a big shakeup of the Minnesota gubernatorial race and creates a vacancy in the state's leadership that will likely result in many jumping into the race. Senator Amy Klobuchar, D. Minnesota, is considering running for governor. The Associated Press reported.
Hold for laughter.
Other candidates include My Pillow founder Mike Lindell. Let's fucking go.
Fresh from being vindicated about election fraud, by the way.
And Minnesota House Speaker Lisa DeMuth, both Republicans.
What better man to put Tim Walz out of his misery than a man with a pillow? Huh?
Oh my God, the memes. Oh
yes!
No.
Yes!
Oh no.
Do it! It's so memeable. It'll usher him right into the governor's mansion.
Okay, so do we use One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or do we use Silent Hill 2?
Silent Hill 2 for us.
Okay.
For geeks like us, it's got to be Silent Hill 2.
All right, just remind me when we're done here, and I'll get to work on it. Walz's decision.
You got to throw those memes at us while we're live. Reply to our thread on X. Reply to our thread with your best Silent Hill 2 My Pillow guy memes, and we'll throw it up on screen.
Walz's decision comes after a video from Utah influencer Nick Shirley. Alleged fraud was happening at child care facilities in Minnesota. He's from Utah, really?
Yep.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said it would freeze all federal child care payments to Minnesota, but the state's Department of Children, Youth, and Families said investigators believe the facilities to be operating as expected. Really?
Oh, yeah. I don't know about you, but every time I take a kid to a daycare, they don't open until 5 o'clock p.m. I know.
Walz has admitted that the fraud scandal, which could amount to about $1 billion, I'm sorry, when was this article written?
All right.
Was his fault. It happened on his watch, he said, and I'm the one that will fix it.
What?
Sure, buddy.
Bullshit. You got a giant sapien catapult handy? Because that'd fix it pretty quick.
The Department of Justice.
We'll talk about that in a moment, by the way, because Trump may or may not have just proposed just that.
The Department of Justice has already brought charges against dozens of Minnesotans. Really, Minnesotans, over alleged Medicaid fraud and fraud related to the Feeding Our Future program. Walz criticized the Trump admin in his statement, arguing that the president and his allies want to make Minnesota a colder, meaner place.
Hey,
they want to poison. Sorry, go ahead.
Speaking of colder and meaner, you remember that bald-headed bitch who showed up in the freaking Tim Pool skull cap and was like, "Ice, don't open up, don't open up." She was the meanest person in the whole video, including the freaking racist lady who was like, "You're white. That makes me nervous." She was still, the bald lady was the most mean of anybody in the entire video. Anybody who's seen it knows what I'm talking about.
They want to poison our people against each other by attacking our neighbors. And ultimately, they want to take away much of what makes Minnesota the best place in America to raise a family.
to raise a Somali family. Not Sudanese, though. We don't let them come over here during the Christian genocide.
Walz has enacted many Democratic initiatives in Minnesota since taking office in 2019, including abortion protections, aid to families, and free school breakfast and lunch.
And we've covered the free school breakfast and lunch scam and how that's, just one facet of it. I talked about it all the way back and why we need the wall video. And man, years ago, I was talking about this stuff. Every time you find this kind of pit of fraud, every time you turn over this rock, free or reduced school lunch programs and stuff, they always rise to the, they always go scattering, right? So continue, please. I want to hear this. I want to read this thing to the end. Oh my God. Yeah, no, sorry. I was reading ahead. Go ahead.
Before that, Walz was a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from 2007 until becoming governor. He is an Army National Guard veteran and former high school football coach.
Well, I'm sold.
Former Vice President Kamala Harris chose him to be her running mate in her abbreviated 2024 campaign, increasing his national name recognition.
I think what it abbreviated is both of their political careers. Holy shit, man. Former so a weekend warrior who occasionally chases a ball around a field. Fantastic. That's all I need to know to elect a man governor. But of course, they explained in Nick Shirley's video what's going on in Minneapolis. Somalis vote as a bloc. They're incredibly insular. They vote compulsorily for Democrats. As we know, it's completely lockstep. What have I talked about many, many times? The Democratic pig pen strategy. Here's the Somali pig pen. Here's the Mexican pig pen. Here's the gay pig pen, the LGBT pig pen, and everybody implicitly, hey, you're supposed to vote for Democrats. And it's like clockwork. It's reflexive. It's a complete reflex action. That strategy is breaking down before our eyes. And we wouldn't know about this fraud if it hadn't been breaking down for the last 3 or 4 election cycles. And here's why this is pertinent. There are people on the right who think we should be creating our own pig pens and that's the way to defeat the left. When you break it down, that's the identitarian strategy on the right. They want to adopt the same strategy that has been failing the left for the last decade. Roll those bones and see how they come up, asshole. Let's see how that goes. Oh my goodness. Good times. And here we go, sir. I want to read this. Oh, actually, let me read this tweet. Could you scroll down a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota's corrupt governor will possibly leave office before his term is up, but in any event, will not be running again because he was caught red-handed along with Ilhan Omar and others of his Somali friends stealing tens of billions of taxpayer dollars. I feel certain the facts will come out and they will reveal a seriously unscrupulous and rich group of slime balls. I love the quotations around slime balls. Governor Walz has destroyed the state of Minnesota, but others, like Governor Gavin Newsom, what is scum and slime in this? J.B. Pritzker and Kathy Hochul have done, in my opinion, an even more dishonest and incompetent job. No one is above the law.
It should be J.B. Pricker or Pritzker.
Right? He should have come up with a cutesy. He hasn't gotten around to him just yet.
Yeah.
So, oh man, Linchpin, who's more annoying to listen to on this? Lolberts, lefties, or the MAGA crowd? I've heard a lot of dumb and intelligent shit so far. It's tough. It's tough. The lefties you expected from. It's the Lolberts who, in order to be a libertarian still, especially a big L libertarian in 2025, now 26, you kind of have to be more lefty than righty. Because if you were just a righty libertarian, then when Trump was elected, a lot of your wish list items got crossed off. So you would just become a Republican at that point. See Glenn Jacobs, right? Kane from the WWE. He's now a registered Republican after being a lifelong libertarian. That's a good example of what I'm talking about here. So in the absence of that, you wind up with kind of these lolbertarians who really are just about pot and abortion and little else. And so they're essentially indistinguishable on most issues from the left. But they have this cringy other aspect that we'll talk about where they're absolutely one shot by the Iraq War period. They have no historical frame of reference for military campaigns outside of the years of 2002 to 2006. None. You will get thimble deep analysis that hey guys, I see guns are firing in the Middle East. Did you know there were guns firing in the Middle East during the Iraq War? Checkmate, chuds, you fucking retard. Not everything is the Iraq War. It's not 2003 anymore, asshat. Right? So we have a lot of that, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. Let's see here. Trump's voice. The king's might is greater than human, and his arm is very long. Herodotus said, and I say he was talking about my third arm, Melania? Godspeed. All right. There we go. More Trump voice. And for my next trick, I'll make the left defend a commie dictator. That wasn't much of a trick, honestly. It really wasn't. Jake's Dino God, if you play Mercenaries or any anti-commie game this Friday, too short a list, frankly. Make sure you have the songs Oh No You Didn't queued up or Commando by the Ramones. Ooh, that's what I missed out on.
Good choices.
All right. I fully subscribe to the Dunroe doctrine. I laughed until my lung collapsed when I read that truth post. What about you?
It's not just on his truth post. I wasn't aware. He actually said it.
He said it.
Yeah,
he said it.
He said it during the announcement of the arrest of Maduro.
Yes. But before we move off this topic or transition to do a variant of it, what do you think is going on with Tim Walz dropping out, not seeking re-election? What do you think is really in back of it?
Him panicking, pissing his pants, lawyering up, possibly thinking about leaving the country. That should be the next bet on whatever the website is everybody bets on. Is Tim Walz gonna make a run for it?
Right? He's running rather than running. I will just state this for the record. Tim Walz is not resigning to take responsibility for the fraud already discovered. He is resigning to avoid responsibility for the fraud yet to be uncovered. That's really what this is about. He's getting out of the blast radius as much as he can. I don't think it's going to work because pretty much all of this happened on his watch, or at least intensified on his watch. I mean, the initial monetary figures, and we talked about them, 2 episodes of the RazörForce Offensive back? We broke down the actual numbers, you remember, and they were up into the hundreds of millions. They were knocking on the door of $1 billion already at that point, and that was the earliest stages. Before this Nick Shirley video even dropped, we were talking about this and throwing the numbers out there. You guys remember, this all happened under his watch. It at least intensified, and it was up past the 1 billion mark. And what is it now? 9 billion, maybe above that now, something like that. It's the last I heard, but absolute insanity. But Trump addressing it, even worse news for Mr. Walls. I can't wait to listen to this. We found the audio. Yeah. President Trump during a briefing, I think on Air Force One. Let's go ahead and listen to this one. It's only audio. You don't need to.
Yeah. Well, it also affects the quality of the audio.
Let's listen to
Somalia.
Crank that up.
Pirates.
Yeah. Hold on. Thankfully, I have Volume Master.
Please do.
Somalia. Pirates. But what they are doing is they're stealing money from the American taxpayer, and every one of them should be forced to leave this country, including Ilhan Omar.
Oh!
And she's one of the leaders of it. Not the only, because she's not that smart. But think of it. $19 billion at least they've stolen from Minnesota and from the United States. It's actually more from the United States because Minnesota puts in, and we're not going to pay it anymore. We're going to have Waltz go pay. We're not going to pay them, and we're not going to pay California, and we're not going to pay Illinois with a slob of a governor that they have.
A big slob of a governor.
Somalia.
That might be my new favorite Trump word, the way that he says Somalia. That's right. Country.
Throwing
Somalia.
shots at California and Illinois too.
He is essentially saying he wants to deport all Somalis, beginning with Ilhan Omar. How is this real life? Like, where am I? How did we even wind up with a president like this, dude? I never thought we would even have a chance of getting any of this stuff to happen. But it's like he's crossing items off my Santa Claus list daily. It's freaking crazy. Let's see what he does about it, though, because he says things like this and then nothing happens, right? So, anything else happen in the news, Taryn?
Nope, that's it. Good night, folks.
Nope. Not an eventful week at all. Not at all. Certainly not in Iran. Huh?
Oh, boy.
Definitely not in Iran. Oh, that's not what the one we want to look at.
Oh.
Certainly. You want to bring up the Iran one? Iran. Iran so far away. Yay, folks.
Was there a specific article?
I thought I linked it to you in the chat. Well, anyways, folks, it's popping off in Iran. Basically, Arab Spring 2.0. I've talked about this many times, but in Iran, there were mass revolts in 2011, 2012, whatever. They were at least as well organized. But the American media seemed like exclusively fixated on Egypt, I think, because the goal was to get Gaddafi out of there. So Iran was kind of inconvenient to their purpose. But folks, it's popping off this time, and there's no hiding it. There's absolutely no hiding it at all. If you want to find like an article or something, actually, let me.
Yeah.
They have just taken over like a military facility, or they're right at the gates of a military. It's now 9 straight days of protests, over a week now, and they're taking ground from the Iranian military. And here's why that's pertinent. The Iranian military is not just the military. It's not just like the police force. It's not whatever. It's a branch of their government. So when you hear like an Iranian military facility has fallen to these protesters, this is a branch of the government being seized by protesters. This is like a political headquarters being taken over by them. Let me go ahead and present that to you. Here we go. Iran protests enter 9th day as Trump renews intervention threat. All the intervention threat, by the way, is just him saying, hey, if you open fire on the protesters like you did in 2012, because they did, then we'll have to intervene because this is just a lawful protest, right? A wave of protests sparked by Iran's failing economy is continued. Oh, please, it's much more than that. Has continued for a 9th day as President Donald Trump renewed his threat of U.S. intervention. Videos published online on Monday showed demonstrations in the capital Tehran, in the southwestern city of Yazd, human rights activists have said protests have taken place in 26 of the country's 31 provinces since last week, and that at least 19 protesters and one member of the security forces has been killed. Trump warned on Sunday night that Iranian authorities would be hit very hard if more protesters died. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States, he told reporters on Air Force One. On Monday, Iran's judiciary chief, Ghulam Hossein Mohseni Ejei, I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, I think I got it right, said authorities would, quote, listen to protesters. Yeah, you got a microphone at the end of those rifles, huh? And critics who legitimately and rightly have concerns about their livelihood and social and economic welfare. That's the problem. They're not just or even mostly protesting about that. But he adds that they would deal firmly with those who seek to exploit the situation, incite riots, and undermine the security of the country and the people. Rioters must know there will be no leniency or appeasement towards them, he warned. The Iranian Foreign Ministry's spokesman also accused Israel of seeking to undermine our national unity.
What?
Apparently they were involved in 2012 and 2011 as well. And that, oops, sorry about that. Hold on. I lost my place. There we go. Rioters must know there will be no leniency towards them, he warned. The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman also accused Israel of seeking to undermine our national unity after Prime Minister, there we go, Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his government's solidarity with the struggle of the Iranian people on Sunday. Ismail Baghai told the news conference that the statements by Netanyahu and certain radical American officials, like the sitting president of the United States, were nothing more than incitement to violence. Guys, in the Arab Spring, they were just as bankrupt then as they were now. I mean, rolling blackouts, the same shit they're dealing with now. And yet they claimed that the police forces were completely bankrupt in Iran. Then the protesters marched out onto the street, and wouldn't you know it, the police and the military rolled up on a fleet of brand new motorcycles. Brand new crotch rocket Bugatti motorcycles, and trampled the protesters. They found the money somehow for brand new motorcycles. This is just such utter horse shit. Complete horse shit. Iran, the Islamic Republic, was imposed on Iran by foreign actors. And if they're able to upend this governmental tyranny, they will be upending a foreign tyranny, a puppet government that was imposed on a non-Muslim country by Muslims. Period. End of story. Any reaction to all of these developments in Iran?
One, it's about time.
Yeah.
Two,
Well,
I'm not sure if you...
The third about time. Yeah.
I'm not sure if you brought it up. We brought it up the last stream. We did not Nightmare Arcade, but Razor Fist Arcade. We said these people are committed. They have to go all the way because guess what's going to happen if they don't succeed?
Yes.
They will be hunted down and they will be killed.
Yep.
So this isn't just some little protest or some little riot.
Yes.
Like this
is even more severe than in 2012. And we know what happened to the protesters in 2012. They were killed before live video cameras, and that's just the ones we saw. All the rest, anybody identified in any of those videos was rounded up. Some of them died in prison. Some are still in prison. And an awful lot were executed or killed. They had public executions in the wake of the Arab Spring protests in Iran. Again, the American media largely looked the other way. They were so fixated on Egypt because they wanted to get rid of Gaddafi and all that bullshit that they pretty much ignored Iran. And the whole time I was like, geez, once they backed off, they knew it was a death sentence. So this is, guys, they're committed. They either die now or they take their government back. And Iran is weak after getting shit hammered by the U.S. military and by Israel. They're economically fucked. They've been pursuing an economic policy of autarky for how long? It has affected everything infrastructurally in the country. There's no jobs. There's no money. The money they do make is increasingly devalued. I know people in Iran. I know people who are stuck in Iran, and the situation's about as desperate as it can be, right? I think they'll probably cut off the internet ultimately. But the thing is, the Iranian people already know how to get around a lot of that government censorship of the internet, because in order to use the internet at all, you kind of have to have limited Hacksaw knowledge at least. Like, you have to know how to be behind multiple firewalls and proxies and all that shit just in order to use the internet without it being censored. Because otherwise, if you try to go to any Western website when you're living in Iran, it redirects to a website educating you on the merits of Islam and the life of Muhammad. It's so hilarious. It doesn't even redirect to like an Iranian government website or something. No, it's just some Islamic bullshit. Just, this is an occupied government, and we will be well rid of them. Genuine prayers. I encourage you all to lift your prayers, especially for Christians stuck in Iran who have to hide the fact that they're Christian. It's a very westernized and surprisingly Christianized population that are occupied by an Arabic form of government and an Arabic religion that is not their own. It's not their own. This is not. So when you hear people like Dave Smith shit out the "it's Iraq War II" propaganda shit, just understand that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know the first thing about the first fucking thing about Iran. These people are clueless. But genuinely, lift your prayers to the people in Iran, because they're committed. They either win their freedom or, as Terrence said, they die. There's no two ways about it at all. Let's see here. A poor horse abused by Chang Human Zoo of dictator presidents when? Well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Trump, we nabbed Maduro so perfect in the deck. What did you do last weekend? Razor, I played perfect deck. Wow, way to steal my thunder, Razor. Wow. I didn't know that. You're telling me now for the first time. That's incredible. Cesario, make no mistake, other countries aren't angry or offended that the U.S. snatched Maduro. They're absolutely horrified by how easy we made it look. They played Maduro like a MGS level boss. On the easiest difficulty. Weefy, you know what, Razor? I think I understand the left and cuck right's point about Maduro. We need to respect the rights of the commie dictator who said, "Come and get me, cowards," on live television. Let's run down some of the prelude to this, because I don't want this to get lost in all the argument about, oh, is this going to turn out well? Are we going to get bogged down in a quagmire trying to take over? And I could be legitimately concerned about whether or not we're going to have a sustained presence in Venezuela, but don't let that distract you. This was justified. This man sent armed military assets to guard human trafficker boats. The foreign minister of Venezuela a year and a half ago said that Venezuelan rifles would be on the streets of New York City. This was not just saber rattling. This was hardcore saber rattling. This guy got shit hammered. And then, of course, what you alluded to, the "come and get me" remarks and him singing John Lennon. Did you see that, by the way? Maduro singing John Lennon, Imagine. There's your based commie dictator, cuck, right? Fuck you, people. So there was absolutely prelude to this. It was completely justified, even without whether or not it turns out well. It doesn't matter. He saber-rattled at us. He threatened us. He threatened to airdrop troops into New York City, for crying out loud. He also threatened Guyana as well, which is a U.S. protectorate. He threatened to invade Guyana. Guys, this was completely justified. Normal man, hello, Maduro. Is your refrigerator running?
Well, you're under arrest.
Yeah. Ben Manjarir, Happy New Year, Razor. If it's true, I believe it is, that in the Islamic faith you are allowed to lie for the advancement of Islam, then what does one do with a religion incompatible with the West? I wish I could say some branches of Christianity are any better, but as we know from the Jan Hus situation, according to papists, it is okay to lie as long as you're lying to a heathen. So I don't think Islam is alone in that one. Overkill. Now that I broke Operation Joint Cause speedrun, I'm breaking the Donkey Kong record. I know Billy Mitchell has a plan, but mine's better. What has Billy Mitchell said about all this, I wonder?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. I love following him on Twitter, dude. Do you follow him?
Hold on, let me find out.
You've gotta, the King of Kong, man. Southie 98, Trump just cobraed Maduro's ass. Godspeed. Fear the Dwarves. Watching the left switch from No Kings to Save El Presidente has been the height of comedy. You'd think they'd be happier because Venezuelan oil goes to fuel Russian tanks in Ukraine, but hey, nobody ever accused the left of consistency. Another aspect of this that I haven't seen a lot of people point out is if things go badly for the government of Iran, what is one of the logical countries that the members of the military and the politicians and everybody would flee to? Venezuela. Venezuela would have been on the short list. It would have been at the top of the short list for fleeing Iranian officials. So I wonder if that wasn't a consideration going into all this.
Okay, so he... 1 second. Billy Mitchell didn't.
Do you have it? Do you have it on screen?
No, I'm not sharing anything by Billy Mitchell. He released the hot sauce, and well, I mean, I could share this.
Yes. God, I love Billy Mitchell. Oh, I love Billy Mitchell.
Anyway,
speaking of the, we need to do the Hassan Piker as a fucking retard minute. Just a moment.
When you press a button, something awesome has to happen.
Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby.
God, just, oh, Hassan Piker. Oh. Dinocide, now to retake the Holy Land and make Istanbul Constantinople again. From your lips to God's ears. Matthew Hammond, Hilton Hotels canceled confirmed ICE reservations. Interesting. I didn't hear about this. Sack Butt, what's the over-under on if we get to see Maduro and Khamenei get frozen in carbonite and placed in the statuary hall?
I was frozen today.
There we are. I forgot I had that. So, I don't know, man. I 2-1, maybe. Oh, the engaged few. Her name was Neda Aha Sultan. F Iran. I know exactly what you're talking about. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. There we are. Klobuchar for Minnesota governor. Waltz for Senate. It's official. Okay. The hash slinging slasher. Is the new war in the room with us right now? Dave Smith's therapist. Did you see his stupid ass tweet? Say, in 20 years, man, people will be making documentaries about how we were correct. It's like, so, asshole, you're going to go engaging in hindsight, but you're going to cherry pick when you engage in the hindsight. Because we're 5 years removed from Dave fucking Smith claiming we were going to have boots on the ground in Iran. How'd that work out? Any hindsight there, buddy? And like, the guy has comedian in his profile. What's the last joke you heard from Dave Smith, by the way? He pretty much just shits hot takes for a living. I write more jokes, and I'm not even a stand-up.
It's amazing. And all the people who keep saying, oh, how many times should we have been in World War III by now?
No shit. No shit. Candy Kong, fucking Ian Carroll, Dave Smith, all of them predicted that shit. Tim Pool. All right. Dilly Bod, get ready for Tim Pool and Luke Rutkowski to transform into weapons-grade lulberts. Run! I haven't seen Dimpool's take on it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't either.
JPA, I used to label myself right-wing libertarian until I realized the libertarian impulses of the right are what allowed the left to seize control of all our cultural institutions in recent decades. I agree. You could
said.
Yeah, no kidding. You could maybe make the libertarian argument on certain of these issues and make it work. If once you attain the levers of power, you were dismantling massive government programs, if you were dismantling the FBI and the NSA, because they wouldn't have the power to seize the, right? You could, in theory, do that. But of course, lulberts never want to wield the power to begin with. And that, what I just described, would require them attaining and wielding that power. But we don't want to do that. Thomas Massey doesn't want to do that. Rand Paul doesn't want to do that, right? Because my principles. And of course, their principles are flexible, aren't they? When Biden's in office, they're mute. But Trump's in office, we can actually get some shit done. Suddenly, I got to speak up. Fuck clean off. And it's telling that the only thing Massey, the only item of legislation Massey has ever pushed was a Democrat bill. If that doesn't say it all. All right. Oops. Sorry. CDB came across a great anti-comic song by the great Marty Robbins from the 1960s called Ain't I Right? We need more anti-commie music. God, effing speed. There's a Marty Robbins anti-commie song. Taryn, if you're not looking this up right now, you best be looking this up. All right. K-Bear Mama, can Alberta apply to have Carney Maduro'd? Please. Oh, please. Please. Our America's hat is feeling a little itchy. Not a fad. Have you ever thought about going on the unsubscribed podcast? I don't think they want me on there. They're not big fans. Old truths. Yes, thank you very much. We already got to that. We didn't miss your super chat. I'm jumping around, so don't worry about it, bud. You didn't have to donate again. Feel free to refund that one if you want to. Let's see here. Zedekiah, what are your thoughts on people who claim the Constitution's just a piece of paper because it doesn't defend our God-given rights? My thought is, of course it doesn't. It enumerates them. You fight for your rights. Exactly. I forget what the exact quote is. It was either Madison or Jefferson. I think they both have said similar things around the same time, but the Constitution will not be of value if you don't have a moral people. It was something like that. I think actually maybe even Washington said some variant of that at some point. It doesn't give us our rights. Our rights are given by God, and we defend them with our blood if need be. And the Constitution is, hey guys, we won this war. It's the declaration of our having won that war. Smack, here it is on the table. Back the fuck off, redcoat, right? That's all it was. And that's all it is. But that doesn't make it valueless. That's like calling the blood that Constitution was purchased with valueless. And that is nose-honking, unicycle-riding clown shit, and you should shut the fuck up with that noise. Chain gun gang, bleeding head reds, time to dispense some justice. President Dread J. Trump. I really need to get on that Dread video. Malotus, China looks so weak right now for not invading Taiwan yet. Right? They couldn't even protect their puppet in Venezuela.
Yeah.
That shit was over in less than 2 hours. All right. Matthew Hammond, did any U.S. politicians take Venezuelan money? Brother, did you forget the Obama years? Yes. They were hopping back and forth to Venezuela all throughout that presidency. Remember those cringy photo ops with Bernie Panders and, oh, wish you had my name. Has Bernie Sanders stopped crying into his crusty, well-used Hugo Chavez body pillow? We hope not. Salty barbed wire enemas to the woke commies. I agree. Well, shoot, everybody's mentioning it. We should probably just talk about it, shall we? Do you have the Venezuela story here?
Before we move off of Iran, you asked me to look for some footage from the protests.
Oh, please do. Yes. You got it, sir.
Yes,
ooh. Ooh. I don't think I've seen this.
This one's from back in January. Footages from December 29th.
So this is the prelude to what we're witnessing. Oh, that's an awful lot of shopkeepers, bud. The spin. Hey, whose video is that? What media organization? Because that is weapons grade spin. You think there's that many shopkeepers in freaking Tehran? Shut the fuck up.
Let's see. We've got some other stuff more recent.
Yep. I did see this. Yes. Yep. Do you have them taking the military outpost last night? I think it was.
No, I didn't get that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
We've got
shit's
people
popping off. If shit is popping off in Iran, though, and my thoughts and prayers, genuine thoughts and genuine prayers, go out to them, because everybody in that video imprisoned or dead if this doesn't pan out for them. And there's no ambiguity on the subject. We saw this play out a little over a decade ago during the Arab Spring. It'll happen again. If they don't, you're committed, guys. Go for broke. Those are my words of encouragement to everybody in Iran right now.
We got people celebrating in the streets.
All right. Wargoat, the UK needs to copy the Iranian people's homework. Also, who do you think is the next Latin American country to have its leader scooped? I think Colombia, but I hope Cuba. Yeah, Colombia, it's a weirder situation, but boy, their president ran his mouth not that long ago and looked real weak in the process. Gridiron Masters, there's new meaning to confiscation for communists. Indeed. Your oil, my choice. Major Spike, if you want a sneak preview of the raid on Scheinbaum's place, just watch the climax of The Wizard of Oz with the Spanish dub on. Yeah, can we talk about that for a minute? The Venezuela was on behalf of the Jews.
My God, everything.
Can we analyze that bit of brilliance for a moment? Because not 15 minutes after the raid on Venezuela was announced, Trump threatened Scheinbaum, the Jewish, dual citizen with Israel, I think, who runs the nation of Mexico. That's weird tactics for the Jews, gang. To have him threaten to glass the frickin' Mexicans 5 minutes later while they're run by a Jew. All right. Gray Matter were the last few super chats during the arcade stream from Rubio, seeing if they could end the op before stream. Also, has Chavez landed yet? Okay. We should probably talk about this. Do you have any actually, you know what? You want to read? I'll go ahead and highlight these if you will read a few.
Oh, certainly.
And then I will bring up the story.
Aquatarius. Thank you for the 30. It's been 5 days. Maduro refried. Walls lined against the wall. And I just learned my Chirp American neighbors are being evicted. Anyone else tired of winning yet? Also, you feeling lucky, Taryn? You sound like Walls' career.
Oh, mama. Oh, good stuff. Okay, guys, let's talk about it. Venezuela got glassed. We were streaming when it happened. I got to react in real time. You got my sincere reaction. It has not changed since. Underneath a full moon in Caracas. Oh, we're going to be dramatic in this article, USA Today. The might of the U.S. military was on full display during the early morning hours of January 3rd. Special operations helicopters thudded through the sky at low altitude, exchanging fire with Venezuelan air defenses on their way to and from the compound where Army Delta Force operators captured the country's leader, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores. So basically, the climax of the movie of Delta Force 2. You remember that? The Colombian connection?
Yeah.
Where freaking Chuck Norris roundhouse kicks a bunch of freaking narco terrorists. Dude, that's an underrated movie right there. Fighter and bomber jets supported the raid force, striking air defenses and other targets in Caracas and 3 coastal states. And the moonlight was all that much of Venezuela's capital had to go by, since U.S. cyber warfare operators and intelligence agencies disrupted the city's power supply. Here's how the raid to capture Maduro, Operation Absolute Resolve, went down, according to public comments from President Donald Trump's administration and media reports. The preparation for this raid took months, explained Air Force General Dan Raisin Kane. That's amazing. I'm sorry, that's incredible. Raisin Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. How far removed are we from the friggin' Joint Chiefs wearing wigs and women's blouses under Biden?
Oh my God! Thank God.
Raisin Kane describing a raid on commies. Have we not come a fur piece in a single year? A group of CIA officers began working clandestinely in August to track Maduro. Other segments of the intelligence community also turned their lenses onto the Venezuelan leader, the electronic intercept capabilities of the NSA, the imagery analysts of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and others. The Pentagon gradually built up U.S. troops in the region, first by which, by the way, accounts for the little firefights that were happening in the months preceding this. First by deploying missile-carrying ships and a floating Marine Corps task force, then fighter jets, then an aircraft carrier, then more fighter jets, and so forth, until a massive armada was in place. Here's a question. How many of those drug boats were actually drug boats and weren't like smuggling members of his cabinet out, smuggling intel, maybe weapons, because Maduro had an inkling that he was about to get boofed? Because that did happen when Saddam was about to invade. Was about to be invaded, remember, in 2003?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We got satellite photos of the weapons of mass destruction there that totally didn't exist being shipped out on trucks towards Kuwait, and then they were apprehended at the Kuwait-Iraq border in October of 2003. The Army Special Operators tasked with the mission built a replica of Maduro's compound, just as was done for the 2011 raid that killed Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan, and practiced meticulously. We rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we can't get it wrong, said Raisin Kane. This is the highlight of this, honestly. Taryn, your initial thoughts when all of this happened. We did cover this, but in case you missed our stream, your initial thoughts when you heard all of this. Did you support it reflexively, or did you take a wait and see approach, see how it would go?
I supported it immediately. You know me, I fucking hate commies. Fuck them. But especially in Venezuela, because that's just a problem that was always going to happen.
Yep.
It's just been there. We know drugs come from there.
Yeah.
We know the people have been suffering for years. We've heard stories about, I think I brought this up on the stream, how at one point their currency was so worthless that it was just blowing down the street. Just loose bills everywhere, like garbage. And
Indeed.
This is something that needed to happen.
Absolutely. But not everybody is happy about it. A bunch of people who have been cosplaying as right-wing, probably from Pakistan, pretty pissed about it. Our good buddy Restoring the Faith in Germanic Gothic letters. Hey, is the Catholic Church primarily defined with the region of Germany, or would that be Lutheranism? I can't remember. Anyway, usury, sodomy, abortion, oppose these and the USSA will kill you.
Clever.
Defending a commie with the pejorative USSA. Where's he getting this from? Well, we know Tucker had a hot take or 20. Let's hear his side.
We can safely discount democracy as a reason for affecting regime change in Venezuela. We're not going to go kill Nicolas Maduro because we don't like the way he's treating his people. It's possible we're mad that he doesn't allow gay marriage. That is a distinct possibility, but no one will say that out loud. Not defending the regime, just saying.
Yes, you are.
One of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes close, which is much smaller, of course. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader.
Yeah, I can't think of anything more moral, more conservative, more trad than getting fucking shelled because you used armed military assets to guard the cartel boats of assholes who traffic human fucking beings. Nothing more based or Catholic or trad than the sex trade. Am I right? You just for men gel using Jagoff? Cucker.
Who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela. So to those of you who thought this whole project was globo homo, not crazy, actually.
Why are we trying to install this woman? It makes no sense.
Well, because she'll bring gay marriage to Venezuela, and that's important. I mean, that's what we stand for.
Not once anywhere have I heard this mentioned at all. Is this the same place where the fucking the for Israel shit comes from?
Pretty much. I mean, look, it's a conclusion in search of a rationale. You're gonna work backward to do it. There's also kind of a marching orders thing, like, oh my God, Barnes and Barris. Oh, they've been insufferable during all this, and it's especially bad in their case because for Barnes and Barris, I came to know them because they used to discuss fraudulent elections with some frequency. To suddenly lead the pro-Maduro hosannas, I would remind you, who won the last Venezuelan election? Remember that little ditty? Where the opposition leader won the election and then freaking Maduro found the votes and all of a sudden he got reelected? That whole thing? Guys, come on. Let's just come out with it. Richard Barris, Robert Barnes, for all your bitching and bloviating about the cult of MAGA, if Thomas Massey told you to lick his jizz off a doorknob, you'd ask for seconds, you simps. Both these bitches kept quiet in the hour or so after the engagement. But the moment Massey got a fresh coat on his jerry curl and crapped out a room temperature take, you knew which two wonder hacks would be first in line to fucking repeat it. Right? It's just pure, whatever Massey says, they're lockstep. What are the hottest takes you've seen in the aftermath of all this?
Oh, God. I'd hate to admit that I've seen a Destiny clip. But,
oh no, I forgot he existed. I think he forgot he existed.
See, this is bad, okay? And here, let me tell you why. So like, he was an illegitimate leader and like, whatever, he was bad. But the US shouldn't have taken him out and arrested him because that's overstepping, and that's more important that we don't overstep and show off our power.
Yeah.
Because we're the bad guys, actually.
Oh, hi there, Slurpee. Insufferable because they're right about what? They predicted it would turn into World War III. You seeing World War III, asshat? If the objective metric is for them to be right is for us to have World War III, how'd it work out? No, it wound up being World War Re, didn't it, bitch? Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Fuck nut. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought there. Continue.
No, it's okay. I was done.
Yeah, they were full of fucking shit. They got their Massey marching orders. It's the cult of Massey at this point, which is hilarious because I can't imagine a more ineffectual asshat in all of American politics.
Let's discuss.
Hey, I'm Barnes. I'm Barris. I'm going to talk about fraudulent elections all day while defending the biggest perpetrator of one of the most fraudulent elections in this entire fucking hemisphere. Blow it out your narrow asshole. And look, I'm not like stepping up from on high and saying this. I jumped on this self-same normie narrative about, starting World War III back in 2017. I'll cop to it when Trump bombed Syria. You remember? I cut a rant. Why so Syria? I said something like, if Trump starts another Middle Eastern excursion, the only second term I'm going to support is going to be in prison. You remember that? Within a week, it was clear. Like, I was wrong. I admitted it. Trump did know what he was doing. He didn't start a war because it turns out he carefully weighs the risks and benefits of bombing brown people, and he correctly deduced that Putin would be cowed by that action. The difference between me and Barnes and me and Dave Smith, apart from the fact that I write punchlines instead of being one, is that when it became clear Trump knew what he was doing, I looked in the mirror, I examined the flaws in my original analysis and my original argument, and I learned my fucking lesson. I didn't repeat it again and again and again. Yet from Iran and Israel to the 25-minute war in Venezuela, Ian Carroll, Candy Kong and company always and invariably predict World War III and are proven wrong within days and do not fucking admit it. They are biologically incapable of it. Stop listening to these rage wanks. Sorry.
No, you're
that
not.
might be a clip later on.
Let's talk about the whole Thomas Massey thing. Are they actually trying? Is this like the GOP, the old school, still trying to cling to power? Like, oh, Trump's going to be leaving office, so let's try to prop up Massey or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And they've been trying to elevate certain people as an alternative. Absolutely. This is something that's been recurrent. I also want to head off. Don't you dare retreat into semantics either, because I'm seeing a lot of people retreat to this, pretending that they oppose it, not because it was going to start World War III, but because it'll turn into some inescapable quagmire. And look, I have anxiety about that. I wasn't wild hearing Trump say we pretty much run Venezuela. We don't need to run Venezuela. They already elected a leader, and he wasn't allowed to serve his term, okay? We don't need to have a sustained presence there. They already chose their president. Let him serve. Maybe he'll actually reform something. Who knows? Maybe he could wind up with a Milei situation. But guys, an inescapable quagmire. The present evidence does not indicate that. The Lord of the Rings theatrical cuts lasted longer than the Venezuela war and probably had higher fatalities, frankly. This is not about a lengthy quagmire. Stop pretending to have principles. I'm so sick and tired of hearing this bullshit. It's ridiculous. I also saw Count Dankula had one of the worst takes. Did you see that?
Yeah, people were bringing it up in chat, and I'm like, okay, look, shut the fuck up. When you actually grow the balls to remove your dictators, then maybe you can talk.
No shit. No shit. What happened when Scotland had a chance to leave, right? What happened then? And he suffered under his local dictator, for crying out loud. But I mean, just for the record, I said it on Twitter. I said it. What you pretty much stated this as well, Taryn. If unapologetically supporting glassing the commies for any reason or rationale whatsoever, up to and including just for the scrapbook moment, is where you happen to draw the line with supporting me, then bitch, you best cross me off your Christmas card list right now, because we ain't going to agree on much, and it's only going to get worse from here. It is not 2003 anymore, numbnuts. Not every military action is Iraq or Afghanistan. I don't know exactly how the Iraq War and all of the resultant lefty media surrounding it utterly one-shot an entire generation of millennial midwits, but it absolutely did. They always revert to the Iraq War. You clowns can crow about how hard to hoodwink you are, how you think for yourself, and you'll never file in with the herd, but a single American bomb hits Bogota, suddenly you're just another Daily Show shitwank working the Rock the Vote booth at a Green Day concert like we never departed the year 2004. All these libertarian accounts, that's what they sound like. It's like they're blasting the American Idiot album as we speak. It's cringe. You're not red-pilled. You're not principled. You're propagandized and traumatized by the year 2003. They build you fuckers in a factory. Sell your podcast microphone and get the fuck off the internet. Fuck. Sorry. Any stories about Venezuela?
I mean, one or two. If you want to bring that one up real quick, we won't read it because it's fucking CNN. But January 3rd, 2026, breaking Maduro in U.S. custody. And that's him getting off the plane.
Yep.
This is the easiest, not for the faint of heart.
After
Welcome back.
that, we won't.
Pre-roll ads. Welcome to the internet. Speaking of getting off the internet,
Captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is being held at Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn and will face drug and weapons charges. And we've gone over Trump.
Didn't they hold Epstein in Brooklyn? Is this going to be okay?
We'll see. But here,
keep an eye on the surveillance cameras. I'm just saying.
This is new today. Deposed Maduro pleads not guilty after capture in shock U.S. attack on Venezuela.
Yeah.
President protests innocence in U.S. court as countries at UN meeting condemn Donald Trump's crime of aggression. Can you actually see my pointer?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on over here?
What is that? What college
what's,
professor is? Oh, is that his wife?
I think that's his wife.
Of course, it's his wife. Of course, she's the wife of a communist. She looks like a communist college professor. Absolutely.
What the fuck is going on with her
fucking
neck?
Frida Hayworth over there. Yes.
Wow. The deposed Venezuelan president pleaded not guilty to drugs, weapons, and narco-terrorism charges on Monday, 2 days after his capture by U.S. Special Forces in an operation ordered by Donald Trump that sent shockwaves around the world.
Yep.
The brevity and formality of the arraignment hearing in a federal court in Manhattan, barely 30 minutes, during which Maduro was asked to confirm his name and that he understood the 4 charges against him, belied the far-reaching consequences of the U.S. action. As Maduro and his wife addressed the court in Lower Manhattan, the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting just a few miles to the north, where a dozen countries condemned the U.S. crime of aggression.
I think
I wonder which dozen.
The UN was pissing and whining about it too, which is
good.
Yeah, it's always a good indication.
And Secretary General Antonio Guterres, that's not Gutierrez, is it? Suggested the operation constituted a breach of international law. Maduro, 63, insisted to federal judge Alvin Hellerstein.
Not against international law, by the way. Officially supporting cartels with armed military assets.
Yeah.
That's not against international law at all. That's perfectly copacetic, especially on behalf of Beijing after they promised to stop trafficking fentanyl in human beings.
Maduro insisted that he was still president of my country and had been illegally captured at his Caracas home and was a prisoner of war. I am innocent. I am not guilty. I am a decent man. He said in Spanish.
And he started singing John Lennon. Yeah.
During repeated attempts to speak over the judge.
Wow.
As he entered the courtroom, shackled at the ankles, though not at the wrists, he looked toward the jury box before sitting down. Maduro told the public gallery, "Happy New Year" in English. He was dressed in orange slippers, a blue shirt on top of a neon orange shirt, and
Trump
beige
turned
pants.
to him and said, "Feliz Navidad."
He scribbled notes on a legal pad throughout the hearing. He faces 4 U.S. federal criminal counts, including narco-terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and possession of machine guns and destructive devices.
Yep.
Each charge carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. He was first indicted in 2020, along with 14 members of his inner circle, as part of a sprawling drug trafficking case against Venezuelan officials and Colombian guerrillas.
Yep.
Can we also point out briefly all of the people on the left who were saying Trump wasn't strong enough on Venezuela?
Yeah.
Including Joe Biden.
That was how long ago, dude? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that during the election season. I remember that vividly. Oh, Trump, he won't even stand up to Venezuela. He won't do that.
I wonder if those specific people are quiet or they're just shooting off their mouths.
Yep.
Let's see. How much more did you want me to read?
Keep going.
Defense lawyer Barry Pollock made no immediate application for bail, but he said he would later file a motion alluding to the military abduction he said his client was subjected to. Flores, the Venezuelan first lady, was also captured in the pre-dawn raid on Saturday, in which at least 40 people were killed, including civilians and Venezuelan and Cuban security personnel.
That's a shame.
Her lawyer, Mark Donnelly, said she sustained significant injuries during her abduction and required medical examination for severe bruising on her ribs. Flores, who had large band-aids on her temple and forehead, said when she entered her own not guilty plea, she was completely innocent.
Sure. By the way, she's notorious. I just highlighted a super chat. This is known. She's a notorious torturess. She's a sadist, and she's known. There's been stories for years about her torture chambers. How often is that the case? Nelson Mandela's bitch was that way with the necklacing. Commies, they always got a loony broad hanging on their arm.
I was wondering, I've actually been meaning to ask, like, okay, they got him, but they also got his wife, and I'm like, was she part of the government?
Sort of kind of war criminal, yeah, a little bit.
Like, what was she doing?
Oh, here we go. How does Razor like his Chavez? Well done, of course. We didn't even mention that. Just for good measure, they went ahead and shelled Chavez's grave.
Just to make sure?
Just to make sure he's double dead.
No Chavez zombie.
If we're killing dead commies, then we should have dropped one on Walz's political career. Shit. Holy crap. Good times. Good times. Oh,
let's see.
Russia and CCP radar and missile defenses got flexed on. That's true. That's their anti-aircraft and anti-missile systems. I bet right now they're sweating harder than Walls under audit. By the way, Libs, Maduro was aiding Russia. It's true. That's why Russia immediately declaimed the action. All right. Razor and Tyrann, I don't know what you guys are celebrating. This is just like Iraq, down to the mustaches. Dave Smith, Owen Schroyer, and Glenn Greenwald told me so. Well, if Glenn Greenwald says it.
That's funny.
I'm your super beast. I'm sure AOC is crying herself to sleep in her horse stable next to her bushel of apples.
Oh my God.
A horse is a horse, of course, of course. Unless her name is Mrs. Sped. All right. But Razor, nothing is happening. Yeah, boy, tough week for the nothing ever happens people. Whew. Rough. That is rough. Stealth Creations, while the Hyatt chain of hotels in Minneapolis held up DHS reservations, it should be noted they've so far housed NG in DC. National Guard. Is hotel being partisan on corporate level or simply a local issue? Would they have the balls to do it in DC too? I don't know. I need to look into this story. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. So,
you know what? While you read super chats,
yeah,
I got a little background music for you.
Do ya? Pump up the volume.
You came down to this southern town last summer to show the folks a brand new way of life. But all you've shown the folks around here is trouble, and you've only added misery to their strife. Your concern is not to help the people, and I'll say again, though it's been often said, your concern is just to bring discomfort, my friend, and your policy is just a little red. Right. It matters not to you how people suffer.
There we are.
And should they, you consider that a gain.
To go.
You bring a lot of trouble to the town and then you leave. That's part of your communistic game.
Oh!
I detect a little communism. I can see it in the things you do. Communism, socialism, call it what you like. There's very little difference in the two.
Peace!
Ain't I right?
Holy
Your followers
crap.
sometimes have been a bearded, bathless bunch. There's even been a minister or two. A priest, a nun, a rabbi, and an educated man
There
have
you are.
listened and been taken in by you.
Put this in the next
All the
fallout.
country's full of two-faced politicians who encourage you with words that go like this. Burn your draft card if you like, it's good to disagree. That's a get acquainted communistic kiss. Now ain't I right?
Wow.
One politician said it would be nice to send some blood and help the enemy in Vietnam.
Oh!
That's what he says. Here's what I say. Let's just keep the blood. Instead, let's send that politician man. Let's rid the country of the politicians.
No, it's real.
Who coddle tramps that march out in our street, protesting those who want to fight for freedom, my friend. This kind of leader makes our country weak.
Yes.
Now, ain't I right? Let's look and find the strong and able leaders.
Wow.
It's time we found just how our neighbors stand. If we're to win this war with communism,
This is worth the copyright
let's fight it
strike.
here as well as Vietnam. Let's rise as one and meet our obligations, so communistic boots will never trod across the fields of freedom that were given to us with the blessing of our great almighty God. Across the fields of freedom that were given to us with the blessing of our great almighty God.
I think I have a new favorite song.
I know. Put that in the next Fallout, Bethesda, you cowards. My goodness.
I can't believe.
Tough
Did
song
he-
for the cuck right now. Tough
Did
song.
I
for the
hear
cuck
that
right.
correctly? A bearded, bathless bunch?
Yes. Yes.
It was amazing how little changes over time.
Oh, yes. Fantastic. Oh, folks, that set the stage. I forgot what I was even doing, for crying out loud. Oh, fianchetto. Maduro's prison dinner tonight: barbecue pork or tofu, pinot beans, coleslaw, baked sweet potato, margarine pat, WW hamburger bun, and a beverage. What? Probably. All right, Filipino white boy. I have to admit, I was kind of worried going into the midterms, but this is a strong start so far. Not only has Trump dropped a dictator, but Dems look utterly terrible now defending said dictator. It is an abrupt pivot for the Democrats, and it's funny because nobody's really pointing this out, like how recently the Democrats were calling Trump weak on Venezuela, as you said. John Cannon, 1 hour. That's all it took to liberate a country from oppression. It takes me longer to slow cook a leg of lamb. Took me longer to cook my turkey this year. The Azure Nightmare. Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious, and my name is Nick. Jake's Dino God. The warmth of collectivism smells like napalm. All right, Pirates of the 10,000 Lakes, Curse of the Daycares. For those who are not apprised on the daycare situation, shame on you. But if you would like a little bit of a Cliff Notes version, I did a rant just, 3-4 days ago on this subject. I highly recommend you go watch it. It's called Minnesota is the Tip of the Iceberg. Sonic Boomers, be glad Kamala picked Walz. He could have stayed some unknown governor forever. He became the VP nom and got all of the attention of tisms on him. It's true. If he wasn't picked, do you think this would be as big a story, Taryn?
I think we would have found out eventually, but it mainly because he can't keep his fucking mouth shut.
Walz, Mage Leader, Walz, Maduro, Mark Kelly, all within days of each other. Stop. It's too much winning. Tough day for people connected to communist China. I have to say, as you know, Mark Kelly was freaking got millions from communist China. He went over to China, rode a motorcycle onto stage in Beijing with communist flags hanging off the handlebars. He built the spy balloons for Beijing that we wound up shooting down a few years ago. Mark Kelly is Chairman Mark Kelly. And we didn't even talk about this. Can you find the story about Mark Kelly on X quick?
1 second.
What's up?
Mage Leader, thank you for reminding me. We just came off of Venezuela, and I have little something to share with the class.
Do you?
He was interviewed by 60 Minutes.
Was he?
We won't watch the entire thing, but I think we should at least watch this part here. May maximize this.
Sure. Chairman Mark, the senator from Arizona who's not from Arizona.
Let's go.
The fake astronaut.
Democrats, including Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, are asking what's next. Yesterday, the president said, quote, "We're not afraid of boots on the ground."
I think right now we run the risk of Venezuela falling into some form of, chaos. I mean, who's going to run the country? Is it Delcy Rodriguez? Is it Maduro's handpicked person? Or is it a democratically elected leader? We should be on the side
democratically elected leader.
I mean, we're the good guys here.
Kelly serves on the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committees. Isn't removing Maduro good for U.S. national security?
I think having Maduro out of the country, now in New York, being prosecuted for his crimes is a positive thing. The big question is just what comes next and who winds up in charge in Venezuela. They weren't thinking ahead here. Now they...
I want to throw a shoe every time I hear him pronounce Venezuela.
Yeah, how many syllables does Venezuela have in it again?
Venezuela. Like he found 2 extra syllables in that word. What the fuck? Sorry, go ahead.
They say they're going to run the country. What does that actually mean? I think this president needs to do a much better job articulating to the American people what is the plan going forward here. And then explain to the American.
Oh, articulating, huh? He needs to articulate his position better.
Yeah.
Where were you for the past 4 fucking years?
Yeah, his freaking basement. That's where. That's been one of the most clever things that Trump has done in the last 5-6 months. He has gotten this Mr. Clean looking fuckhead to come out of his basement and stop hiding from the Arizona voters and own some of his far left positions. Now, this here is an amuse-bouche for the moderates. Oh, yeah, it's good that Maduro's out of office, blah, 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 right? But ever since he's been drawn out of his basement because Trump took aim at his military record and whatever, which is fake as fuck, by the way, just like everything else about Mark Kelly, he hasn't been able to help but own some of his far left positions. He's stumped for gun control openly in one of the most, maybe the most pro-gun state in the entire United States. He's called for impeachment of Donald Trump. He's had to take far left positions. Let Trump cook on this. I've seen Michael Savage bashing Trump a little bit for going after Mark Kelly. But there's more to the Mark Kelly story, by the way. There's more to that. I was referring to, did you hear the story today about Mark Kelly?
No.
Okay, I will find it then while you play that.
Cool. I was just going to finish up with, he's going off on Trump about not being articulate. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, who was in the White House for the past 4 years? A man who can barely string 2 sentences together.
Yep.
Who had I can count on one hand the number of fucking interviews he actually did.
Yep.
Where he talked to the American public. Shut the fuck up.
And people, what is this really about? Is it about law enforcement? Is it about drug smuggling into the United States? Is it about regime change? Or is it about what the president said 20 times yesterday? This is about extracting mineral rights, oil, from a foreign nation. He hasn't made that clear.
Yesterday, the president.
Yeah, we don't need to watch the rest of that, but
no, we don't. But there's more to this story, Taryn. Everybody, brace your bunghole. This about to get spicy. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth on X. Are you ready for this? 6 weeks ago, Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress released a reckless and seditious video that was clearly intended to undermine good order and military discipline. As a retired, we covered that, by the way, on The Offensive. Go back and watch that episode. As a retired Navy captain who's still receiving a military pension, Chairman Mark knows he is still accountable to military justice, and the Department of War and the American people expect justice. Therefore, in response to Senator Mark Kelly's seditious statements and his pattern of reckless misconduct, the Department of War is taking administrative action against Captain Mark E. Kelly. The department has initiated retirement grade determination proceedings under U.S. Code 10, blah, 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 with reduction in his retired grade, resulting in a corresponding reduction in retired pay. He has been demoted, ladies and gentlemen. He has been demoted. To ensure this action, the Secretary of War has also issued a formal letter of censure, which outlines the totality of Captain, for now, Kelly, for now, based Kelly's reckless misconduct. This censure is a necessary process step and will be placed in Captain Kelly's official and permanent military personnel file. Captain Kelly has been provided notice of the basis for this action and has 30 days to submit a response. The retirement grade determination process directed by Secretary Hegseth will be completed within 45 days. Captain Kelly's status as a sitting United States Senator does not exempt him from accountability, and further violations could result in further action. These actions are based on Captain Kelly's public statements from June through December 2025, in which he characterized lawful military operations as illegal and counseled members of the armed forces to refuse lawful orders. This is all hilarious because some of that was in defense of the cartel drug boats out of Venezuela. Now he claims to support Maduro being ousted. You see what Chairman Mark's game is here, guys?
Very interesting.
Phoniest fucking Congress. Just, if tapioca pudding ever achieves sentience, Chairman Mark Kelly is the form it will take. This conduct was seditious in nature and violated Articles 133 and 134 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, to which Captain Kelly remains subject as a retired officer receiving pay. Sit on it and spin, Mark Kelly, you carpet-bagging cuck. Holy shit. What a week, man. What a week.
Feels good, man. Just so much winning. I love it. I might almost get sick of all the winning.
I might. President, we're tired of winning. And I'll say, no, you have to keep winning. Cunning Druger. They should build a McDonald's on Chavez's crater and have Trump serve up the first burger. Have JD Vance work the drive-thru. Let's do it. Let's do it. Battle Chemist. Every picture I've seen of stories of Tim Walz exiting the race has him frowning like a blobfish from jowl to jowl. I think Klobuchar should drop out too. The trouble is getting her into the helicopter. Uroplatus fimbriatus. My favorite consequence of 2 hours is the apparent increase of neo-Sassanid fervor in their plight due to the news of potential liberty. Interesting. Nick Shirley fought the battle of leering care and the walls came tumbling down. I don't know what tune that was supposed to be set to. Netflix Tony Soprano. Looks like food is back on the menu, boys. Venezuelans properly. Looks like the menu is back on our menu, boys. Kevin Spears. What did Tim do to his kid? You know what? You want to read some of these while I highlight them?
Absolutely. Dreadnought Logan, how much do you want to bet that Maduro has Dems names and is going to spill everything on the Dems to buy his way out and save his own skin?
He's been brought up in several of the election fraud lawsuits, by the way. I'm not sure exactly how or what the connection is there, but if there was anything to that, that would be interesting. I mean, it presents a possibility, I guess, but I'd have to look into it more.
The man with no name called Wyatt Nelson. Democrats, but Epstein files. Garcia, the rogue pilot who vaporized Hugo Chavez's tomb, was identified as Samuelito Hidberto III, El Fantasma de Caracas. Getting away with it.
He can't keep getting away with it.
Random chord. If Walls goes to prison, he may become a huge fan of the band Accept.
Yes, indeed. He'll certainly have his balls to the wall.
Blast Radius. Weirdo Walls and Democrats believe defrauding the taxpayer is nice and kind.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Jegs Dino God. It's popping off in Caracas right now. Sent link.
I don't know what you're talking about. All right.
I am my own apprentice. Their kids assassinate with guns. Our kids assassinate with cameras. John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Indeed.
Stoic Eyes. Alert. 44-page recall on food and such because of contamination from distribution center in Minneapolis.
Shock.
Why is my state slowly sliding into hell? God help us.
Let me tell you a story about the Obama administration. Let me tell you a story.
Blast Radius again. Now that Maduro is gone, Venezuelan refugees can go back there and help fix their country immediately. Now.
Like out of a trebuchet.
Fugly Bumpkin.
And we get an eye out. I am the law.
Groz. I heard an interesting theory that Nick Fuentes is a very sophisticated form of controlled opposition. Also, that his Hispanic
I don't think
heritage,
Nick Fuentes is a very sophisticated anything. Also, that his Hispanic heritage stems from blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. He may be controlled oppo, but sophisticated, I don't know about that one. Frog Jupiter, why are daycares receiving government funds? Why are there 4,000 daycares in a 20-mile distribution or in a 20-mile district, I think he means there. For reference, in Texas, there are around 1,700 McDonald's in the whole state. Exactly. Well, shoot, you can extrapolate that out just watching the video. Did you ever watch the proper video, by the way, Taryn?
The actual
Nick Shirley video.
Nick Shirley video? Yeah.
So you remember when he went to that strip mall and that enclosed strip mall, right? And he goes in and he's like, oh, there's a hallway down the middle. And it's like, oh, a daycare. Oh, a daycare. Oh, a daycare. They're literally across from each other. There's like 5 or 6 different daycares in the same building, right? You extrapolate that out. That dwarfs Starbucks by an order of magnitude. Remember that old Simpsons joke? Where he's like Homer's in the mall and it's like, sorry, in 15 minutes, we're going to turn into a Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
That whole thing. Somebody really needs to make a meme out of that, but with the Leering Center. Because that's literally what we're witnessing in Minnesota. And of course, they were investigated for this reason. It was just covered up. Some of these daycares were investigated a dozen or more times. Mr. the Info Man, China spend $100 billion in Venezuela. Reason is trying to influence Latin America just like the Russians during the Cold War. That's why the Monroe Doctrine applies. This is a puppet regime of Beijing. This is the East encroaching on American sovereign territory or the American sphere of influence.
Before you read the next one, So, what about that little country that's kind of nearby called Canada? I hear they do a lot of business with China.
Yeah, they're kind of a puppet of Beijing, aren't they? Eric the Red, that moment when you check your DoorDash order status and realize it took less time for the U.S. military to go into a foreign country and kidnap a murderous dictator than it takes Chantel to deliver a pepperoni pizza. Many such cases. All right. Marine Alver, the demotion means nothing. Any congressional retirement beats the hell out of any military retirement. Money's not the issue. Money's not the issue. What it does is sully the record that he runs on. He loves to pose in his goofy uniform and talk about how he was an astronaut and all that bullshit, right? This is meant to strike at the thing that he's constantly cosplaying as. That's all it is. If it were about money, they would have gone after his little spy balloon company. Moist John, people comparing building a coalition of coherent, stable nations in the Americas with forcing democracy and sodomy on the Middle East is insane. Black Knight to note, the state of Washington is now trying to criminalize journalists investigating daycares. No surprise there. Washington State was the next domino to fall immediately after the Minneapolis story broke wide. Grant, it's nice to see Tim keep a white guy accountable and remove himself from the race. It's what happens when the denizens of a kleptocracy are imported for votes. And again, we have to reiterate, the Somali population in Minneapolis is literally, these are not emigres. These people were imported here in large numbers on purpose in a directed effort by the Obama administration. It was a directed refugee program with only a political purpose and nothing else. It was a nakedly partisan political purpose to turn that city, which was already very lean blue, permanently and inextricably blue. Emperor Creatine, the globalists don't want you to know this, but El Presidentes in South America are free. You can just take them. I have one El Presidente at home. It's free real estate. Blast Radius, anyone defending Maduro is an ignorant leftist or a communist lover themselves, but I repeat myself. Sonic Boomers, Taryn, no, it's confirmed billions in fraud in Minneapolis and possibly tens of billions. How many of these fraud machines are there across the nation?
Exactly.
I could cite one here in Arizona. Our governor is currently under investigation for the orphan housing, the like halfway houses scam, where all the money wound back up in her political coffers after she gave them sweetheart deals and contracts with the state of Arizona. That's ongoing. She may not even serve out her term at this point. Animate Acumen, right. James ordered his pillow from My Pillow. He did indeed. JGTR stuck in the Caribbean. Flights froze this weekend, but it was worth it to see Maduro bagged and 12 full days of Christmas with family. Long live Presidente Rubio. God fucking speed, gentlemen, and happy Epiphany. Godspeed, sir. Do you think Nick Shirley's reporting about Minnesota fraud will be the first domino that brings an end to government welfare as we know it? It certainly will increase oversight. What we're now witnessing, and I'm already seeing it, is a clampdown to try and stop this story in its tracks. But how do you do that short of getting rid of Nick Shirley's YouTube channel? I wouldn't be surprised. I would heads up to Nick Shirley. I would not be surprised if somebody leaned on Google and Alphabet and got his YouTube channel taken down.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But after that, maybe go to Rumble.
Like he docked someone in his report or something like. I could see it. I could absolutely see it happening. Stormcrow, I've changed my mind on federal no-knock raids. I'm okay with them. Knock, knock. Delta DA, open up! The urge to play the 2003 classic Freedom Fighters intensifies after what just happened. Opinion on Maduro was captured to spill the beans on the Smartmatic Dominion 2020 steal. We already kind of opined on this a little bit earlier. The Civil War on the right was a fake controversy. It is largely astroturfed. We're heading into midterms. They need the MAGA coalition to be broken. There are bad actors and idiots who just disagree on our own side, but they have been purposely signal boosted heading into this midterm, and it's obvious that they are being signal boosted. What they're trying to use these people basically the same way that Richard Spencer was used in 2017, 18, 19.
Yep.
Taco woman Sandy Ravage. Dr. Steve Turley's newest video references an unverified list of both Dems and reps who have taken kickback money from Maduro. Rand Paul is on the list. Will wonders never cease? How much of the U.S. budget is fraud? Do they make numbers that high? That's what Doge should have been looking into. All right. My Venezuelan colleague celebrated with cake. It sounds like your Venezuelan colleague was not alone. There's already footage of Venezuela people celebrating in the streets.
They could afford the cake?
While the lefties are freaking twisting their bonnets. The Azure Nightmare. Tim Walz will probably try to swim across Lake Superior to Canada. Of course, if Nicky Maduro isn't safe, how can Tampon Tim hide the blood trail in the water? What's your thoughts on the strategic military implications from long/short-range ballistic missiles that could be launched from Venezuela and hit places like Miami by adversaries? I think that's why. Yeah, you couldn't have Chinese-controlled long-range missile emplacements anywhere near a country like Venezuela, no matter how shitty they are. You could not allow that. That may be a consideration. It may be. But I think it's absolutely for the benefit of Beijing in another way. China promised to, as part of the negotiations during tariff time, to stop with the fentanyl. They agreed to add it to the list of controlled substances. I did a whole video on this, and I went, paragraph by paragraph down a really detailed article about this story. China got around this by selling precursor chemicals instead. And when Trump caught on to that and said, hey, ban the precursor chemicals, they outsourced it to other Asiatic nations and finally to Venezuela. Venezuela isn't just aiding cartels. I've actually misspoken throughout this stream. They are a narco regime. They used military assets to guard those cartel boats because those were essentially Venezuelan boats. They're a narco-terrorist regime, period. It's not that they were striking cartels. They were striking the Venezuelan regime at the same time. Okay, there we go. I like to think our boys played Ride of the Valkyries like an Apocalypse Now as they flew into Caracas. God bless the USA and Godspeed. Funny, I thought I heard Creedence Clearwater Revival in the distance. The helicopters landed.
Let's face it, it's always that one song. What the fuck is it?
The one I just referenced, Creedence. All right.
Fortunate Son.
Yes. Let's say it out now. McCarthy was right. Yes, he was. All right. The value of this super chat says Wall skips town for Switzerland by the time the first Somali expat gets dragged into court. Wake up from woke. All right. It's a slop game, but Far Cry 6 has commie enemies. Yeah, it has commie developers, too. That's my president, damn it. What, Maduro? Intrinsic Dark. We need to enforce the laws of the books and start kicking Marxists out of positions of power. Trump, make it happen, you beautiful orange bastard. Better orange than red. When the U.S. takes over Somalia, we'll call it Bigalia, because I like to think bigly. All right. Libs crying over Venezuela and imperialism. Why not go with it at this point? What do they got to lose? Right? Literally. And of course, I pointed this out many, many times. The colonialism, imperialism whine from the left, from the communistic left, is pure projection. It's them accusing you of what they're guilty of, because colonialism can sometimes end in invading other countries. Many colonialist nations just keep to themselves and don't invade anyone, right? This has happened for long stretches of time throughout Western civilization history. Communism prescribes its imposition across the entire world. Without exception, communist nations are imperialist. There's no other way to make a communist nation. It's workers of the world unite. It's not possible to be communist and not imperialist. Fugly Bumpkin, I dimly recall Tom Clancy theorizing a way of war that would target hostile leadership without destroying entire countries. Am I wrong, or did the Donster just do that? This was very Splinter Cell, I have to say. This whole operation was very Splinter Cell, Rainbow Sixy. William Gray, my uncle, while smart, acts like intelligence supersedes everything, will never give Trump any credit or put any real analysis on any given situation. This is the problem. You run into people who can only be wrong in distant retrospect.
Yeah.
And by the time they own up to being wrong, there are no stakes in them being wrong. But enough about Dave Smith.
He brought up Iraq. They can't. They have to keep referencing things from 20 fucking years ago.
Yeah, it traumatized an entire generation of millennials. Your self-deportation prediction will be verified if the Venezuela thing works, at least regarding the economic migrants. Give them somewhere else to go. Yeah, possible. Possible. Dear Cuck Wright, peace is not maintained by being pushy. Sincerely, serious people. All right. A good friend of mine is the happiest I've seen him in a while. His family's Venezuelan, and they're ecstatic about this. I know 3 Venezuelans. They're all over the moon about this. Every single one. Same thing with Iranians. It's all the non-Iranians. It's all the non-Venezuelans that are pissed. Striking Hugo Chavez's tomb. Political teabagging. It really is.
Did Trump say anything about that? Like, why? I mean, I want to hear him say it. Yeah, we just decided to do it.
Did you see that Bolshevik Brit Bong Night at the Roxbury looking Riri who tried to get my channel taken down recently because I dogged on him? Did you see him crying about, is there an explanation? Is there an explanation for why they attacked Hugo Chavez's tomb? Is there something wrong with because we can, bitch? Fuck you.
I just want to hear it.
All right. We truly are living in a Tom Clancy novel, right? Go ahead and read these.
Jay reads, did you guys see that Vivek was just confirmed today that him and his team will no longer use Twitter for his governor campaign? Interesting.
Interesting.
Runmal, Dems mad about the loss of Venezuelan Fent for their voter base. Without the zombies, who's going to shit in the streets of Cali?
You know, that's probably a little hyperbolic, but man, really, I'd like to see the figures on how do the drug addicted reliably vote? Who do they reliably vote for? Because they do vote. They don't stop. I know when Colorado legalized pot, what happened to that state politically. I know what it's done to virtually every state that legalizes pot, and that's just pot. So what about other drugs? I'd be interested to see that data. I imagine it would not tilt rightward. Still Ill Productions. Thoughts on Andrew Wilson of The Crucible? I don't know. Oh, podcast. The Crucible podcast. Never watched it. Love how the day after Mamdani verbally shit out the warmth of collectivism. We didn't even cover that. Frigid, rugged individualism rolled up to his favorite commie's house with a warrant and cremated Chavez on the way out. I've seen some gripers state that Venezuela, despite the other countries, was only targeted because they're anti-Jews, as if that doesn't help us as well. Boy, for an anti-Jew regime, they were mighty chummy with Mexico, who's currently run by a Jew. That's interesting. Remind me what Marx was ethnically? Isaiah Carter, what a week, and it's already Monday. Happy New Year. Stop by Apostate Radio again soon. Godspeed, sir. Look up Capitalism Isn't Evil. You Just Suck at Life. It's the hot new track all the kids should be bumping in their rides. You go ahead and read these.
Iron Nikki Board. Can we arrest and capture a foreign leader entrenched in their own country, but not arrest and capture fraudulent foreigners in Minnesota?
Yeah. Wow.
Sad wings raging. I say Trump should give Delta that $50 million to Delta in a free vacation to Davos. Hope they get a lot of pictures.
Yeah, like a Japanese tourist.
DRT is king. If Iran can throw off the Ayatollah's regime, then I hope my dad's college buddies who were removed in the Islamic Revolution can be avenged in at least some small way. The Iranians raising the lion and sun banner is big.
Godspeed, Iran. The real Iran. And everybody's
Tycho.
getting this wrong, by the way. Make Iran Persia again. Iran is actually the ancestral name of that region. Persia came later. So it's actually, of all the things the Islamic Revolution did that were wrong, the one thing they did that was right was call the country Iran. The name Iran is not the problem. Tycho.
Thoughts on the upcoming Trump-class battleships?
Let's make them space cruisers, and I'm on board. Let's make them 40K style space cruisers. a Union class dropship from BattleTech.
Is it true that U.S. Army helicopters were blasting Black Sabbath and Alice Cooper music on loudspeakers during this operation?
If the soldiers that I know are any indication, there's a good fucking chance, dude. The few soldiers I knew a soldier who blasted Iced Earth, the glorious burden in Iraq. You know, like there are a lot of metalheads out there.
Swinging code. That's right, swinging cod. Coup underway. Looks like Cabello is trying to unseat Rodriguez already. Life moves fast.
Yeah, we'll see.
Zerp derp. What's the similarities between Bernie Sanders and lies? Their initials, for one. The fact that you don't see one without the other is another. Sea Striker. Guarantee the commies whining about this guy would be praising clowns like Hitler, Mussolini, and Zedong in the 40s as great leaders.
Yeah, can we also dab on the monarchs quickly? You monarch cosplaying sacks of shit who have been talking about your great leaders and your great men and shit. Fucking fill in your diapers because a strong leader acted unilaterally can blow it clean out your O-ring. Fuck clean off.
Cesario. U.S. gave a communist dictator a free helicopter ride, and they didn't do the meme. They didn't do the meme.
No kidding.
Matthew Hammond. JD Vance's home was attacked by a trans person.
I don't think they've caught the guy yet, or at least last time I checked.
No, they did. He had a hammer. No, they arrested him immediately.
Oh, to answer this, why do I think Unsub wouldn't have me? They got cranky at me because I made fun of YouTube historians. Because they're all kind of the same. And I wasn't even talking about them. I didn't even know about their podcast. Or what's the guy, the guy, Donut Operator? Is that the guy? I forget.
I think
whoever that is, the guy that they have on who's a historian. I didn't even know who he was, but they took major exception to me shitting on YouTube historians because they're all kind of the same. They're all like bald and bearded and British, and they all have the same like college approved opinions and shit. It's terrible. When I was doing my McCarthy video, just to get angry enough to record it, I watched a video by that black frame glasses bald Brit guy. He did
that narrows it down.
Oh God, he did a McCarthy video that was the worst propagandistic tripe I've ever witnessed in my entire life. All right, sorry, Patton. That anti-communist Marty Robbins song is a banger. You ain't telling lies.
Some Shambler. When will you re-upload the Splinter Cell stream to the arcade?
Yeah, we're going to throw it up there. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Also, Terran appreciation post. Appreciate Terran. Thank you. Pursued Corgi. Trump made Operation Just Cause look like the Afghan war.
Yeah.
Golden Fleece. Have you seen reports of more gunfire in Caracas tonight?
No, this must have happened right after we streamed.
Intrinsic Dark. Something happening in the Middle East. Time for ChristTube to make a ton of end times clickbait videos.
Gotta love the low church prots and their perpetual Kirk Cameron end times bullshit.
Rethuglican. Don Rowe Doctrine was first made up and it leaked out similar to an old 4chan meme. It was King Pild's Discord small streamer. Dream big, everyone. You too can have Trump repeat your memes. Ethan Barnhart. Windmilling arms in Minnesota expat excitement. Walz surrenders his bid for next gubernatorial race. Nature is healing.
Yes, sir.
Zedekiah. Funny how many commie filleting lefties are suddenly all for deportations when they see Venezuelans celebrating Maduro getting ganked.
No shit. It was for the dwarves. We must go to the mines of Moisha.
Moisha.
Yes.
Elf Goyim.
Yes.
Tramver
Durinblatt, Lord of Moisha. Sorry.
Tramver Sajaki. Maybe Captain Kelly and Maduro will be roommates.
Hey.
One can only hope.
No?
Is that the Odd Couple?
Yes.
Seawall. There are reports of the old Iranian flag, the Shah's one with the eagle on it, and people chanting, "Long live the Shah" in the street.
Well, you know, and I've told you guys for a long time, there's a huge nostalgia movement for Pahlavi's Iran. Go down the rabbit hole sometime, jump on YouTube, and all these Iranian YouTube channels and stuff, it's old 80s and 70s videos and stuff that they're re-uploading, music videos and whatever, and all the comments are just bring back Pahlavi's Iran, bring back. This is not an op. This is not for Israel, assholes. This has been going on for 15 plus years since I've been paying attention to it, and it was going on even before that. This is the actual Iran you're seeing right now, which is why they're trying to stamp it out. This is an occupied country.
Fugly Bumpkin, Trump just Jan 6th Caracas. The ultimate kahuna, 2026, like a hot girl on top. Slow down, slow down. Patton, now that we've done Mercenaries 2 in real life, can we get a Mercenaries 3? Unfortunately, the studio no longer exists.
Yeah, careful what you wish for with a modern reboot of an old franchise. Ask me about Thief VR sometime.
Hunter Williams, a Gondorian guard. Faramir here, my manifesto about how we should be Gondor first. Faramir, this is just 52 pages of hating on the dwarves.
I wonder what lies or threats drove him so far from his homeland.
Primarch Vulcan. I lost a childhood friend to a Fent OD, and TDA took over an apartment complex I used to live in here in San Antonio. F. Maduro. Taco Woman Sandy Ravage. Left-wing militia coup happening in Venezuela now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Clear Skies GM. Shout out to my dad's crew. 160th Night Stalkers, 2nd Battalion, because death rides a dark horse. Go Special Operations Air Regiment.
Nice. Cats trying not to be commie Simps challenge impossible. Yikes.
Northern Toe. What did you think of Dankula's take on the raid? We talked about that.
Yeah, I pretty much freaking nuked it from orbit earlier. I thought it was completely full of shit. It was so stupid. It was such trapped in 2003 bullshit.
Big Trev. Leftists began defending the concept of borders faster than the fat acceptance movement dropped the Ozempic became known.
Yep.
When Ozempic became known.
Yep. It's wild how the no borders commies suddenly were wild about the concept of national sovereignty. Something Das Kapital and every communist doctrine since then has explicitly declaimed. Dr. Admiral, Razor, do you think communism and socialism will ever croak out for good, or will it always fester around the world? I really wish it would go away for good. Believe it or not, there was a time it was widely agreed to be pretty much dead. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, we really thought communism was dead. There was a minute there. And then our own government decided to put China on life support instead of encouraging them to collapse. We started trading with them. We helped them turn their economy around. This is after Tiananmen, mind you. We had every reason not to do that. And before long, Al Gore was selling them our nuclear secrets. I mean, the entire reason China is the power today is because we kind of had a 1990s version of Lend-Lease going on with them. Clinton was a complete cuck for China. And so we basically kept communism on life support. And they've enacted the same strategy the Soviet Union did at the height of the Cold War. Prop up a puppet regime here, subsidize these guys here. You know, we're witnessing the effects of this now in Venezuela, who is a puppet regime of Beijing.
Sonic Boomers. Seth Harp, leftist loon, tried to dox Kane, privated his shit. Funnier yet, he doxed the wrong Marine.
Wow.
Sheer idiocy.
What a retard.
Mr. Reese, screw all these pro-Maduro clowns. Also, every Venezuelan I know is happy Maduro is gone.
Yeah.
Don't believe the propaganda. Scott Fisher. Candy O, of course, blamed Zionists for Venezuela.
Yep.
It's the Jews.
Massey is very effective at stopping solutions.
Elf Finder General.
About Dankula's take. I'm not that shocked. Like I said, 2003, 4, 5 really one-shot a whole generation of millennials. It really, really did.
Marusha Dark. Country is poor because U.S. sanctions. Oh, so communism and socialism can't work unless you're able to trade with the capitalist U.S., despite being open to the whole rest of the world? Yep. Interesting.
Same argument as unironic Nazis, too. The German economic miracle, and then it started to collapse, and so they had to trigger World War II, right? Autarky. Communist countries engage either forcibly or voluntarily in an economic policy called our autarky, which is basically just leave us alone. We'll just handle it ourselves. The ultimate example of this would be North Korea. They're called the Hermit Kingdom for a reason. It never works. And some of the cringe right are unironic advocates of this.
DRT is king. Robert Barnes also has a weird hatred for wasps. As a wasp, he thinks we are some cabal that controls the country like it's still the 1920s. Also, the unvarnished support for the kingfisher is sad. And for our audience, WASP means white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
WASP means we are sexual perverts. It's a heavy metal band, actually.
Oh.
Spocko! No, I'm just... As a recovering libertarian, I have to agree that libertarians can't be taken seriously. It's true. Massey is just a cringe version of Cato the Younger. Thomas Massey would be loving Neville Chamberlain dry. Maduro emptying and sending the criminal and asylum inmates to the U.S. as migrants is no justification to overthrow him. The Juice, on the other hand... Okay.
Real quick, Cicero in the chat. As a wasp, I wish we had a cabal. Well, as a wasp myself,
yeah.
Buzz, 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 buzz.
Yeah.
I'm not really a wasp.
Marusha Dark. Is it time to bring back exile, deport commies, right? We used to deport them. The Run Venezuela line struck me more as running the oil facilities, which the U.S. built. Marushia Dark, look up Schumer, Biden, and Biden press secretary vids, all saying Maduro's illegitimate and to go after Venezuela. Hypocrisy is the most contemptible trait. Exactly. Yeah, I think the worst thing about this is the hypocrisy. Star Phoenix. So who else is looking forward to the Ninth Circuit shenanigans as they try to flail away the Maduro capture? Would they be so bold, dumb, Democrat? Never put anything past them. Has anyone considered the emotional and psychological damage to Sean Penn now that Maduro is gone? A moment of silence. Well, that's enough. This event is a wake-up call against the fairy tale that any country, including Russia and China, could ever compete with the U.S. in terms of military might and tact, even as far back as the Cold War. It's true. There's been a lot of forbearance on our part, and you have to remember, Iraq and Afghanistan turned out the way they did. The quagmire of Iraq was a quagmire because we were trying to fight a politically correct war. You remember, we didn't even send tanks into Fallujah because because I think George W. Bush answered this during a press conference once. We don't want to appear as conquerors. We're not conquerors, right? We're liberators. So that we could only send people in armored trucks, which is how you wound up with the cringy Lori Payestoa bullshit and all that. Jegs Dino God, isn't it illegal to smoke Cubans? Oh, just cigars. Right. Operation Just Because. The trial is in New York, where they will probably free him. He'll probably get cashless bail. I expect an activist judge has Trump reinstate Maduro as president. Chavez shouldn't have stood so close to the anti-air. Indeed. I wonder if raids like this one are being planned for the big cartel bosses. Maduro is a big cartel boss. If a full-on country can't stop such an operation in its own capital, imagine the cakewalk into a mere drug lord's manor. First Venezuela, now Greenland. He actually has been posturing on Greenland, which I explained months ago, maybe like a year ago, why Trump was talking about taking Greenland. And people were like, what's the deal with Greenland? Why is Trump going after Greenland? And I was like, it's not about Greenland. It's about the fact that Denmark aren't holding up their responsibilities in Greenland. And they needed Greenland as a valuable outpost to prevent Russia and China from horning in on the Northwest Passage. And China and Russia were given the hairy eyeball to Greenland for that reason, because they wanted unencumbered passage through the northern pass, the Northwest Passage, rather. It was for their edification. I said that like over a year ago. Trump just acknowledged it this week, by the way.
Yeah, it's all about defense. We need that support up there.
I am my own apprentice. A little telling this song wasn't in Fallout, right? This song isn't on Spotify, by the way. Can you guess why? Fun fact, they wouldn't air this on radio, tube-based. Yes. And of course, there's the obligatory old video of Biden calling for the exact same thing years ago. I tagged you and Taryn in one of the expos. Of course. Yeah, I've seen that before. There's a version of Liberty Prime singing that song. Here's for the Marty Robbins copyright strike. Well done. Yeah, we might have to mute the audio during that sequence, but it was worth it. Oh, Fanatic. It took me longer to complete one game of Mexican Trains than it did for the Venezuela thing to happen. Oh, Ain't I Right was a ruler for my political journey for the last 10 years. I went from appreciating the sentiment to thinking we need to go further. If you ever need a little extra dose of red pill, feel free to watch my McCarthy Martyred by Marxism video. It'll provide a helpful refresher. The action to get Maduro was faster than Kevin Shirley phoning and mastering an Iron Maiden record. Yikes. I think he literally does that by phone now. Venezuelan. To those who say the United States is only interested in our oil, I ask those people, what do you think the Russians and the Chinese wanted? The recipe for arepas? Dude, I saw that video. Did you see that?
Yes, I did actually.
Oh, genius. Venezuelans know what's up. That's why the lefties are holding their mouths shut. Shut up. I know what's better for you. They always do this every time.
Literally the meme.
Yes. Generalissimo Liberty. I'm looking at Cuba and wondering why we allow that to go on so close to the U.S. Now, the Democrats are alienated the minorities they championed in the 1990s. Yeah, why do you think Cubans are going so hard for Trump? They're losing Mexicans and gays. But enough about Nick Fuentes. Never forget, Mark Kelly, the commie, wants your guns and social credit score. He does indeed. It took longer for Nicolas Cage to steal the Declaration of Independence. Marty Robbins, also a small-time NASCAR driver, had a song called 20th Century Drifter during a race swerved to save the life of Richard Childress. Fun fact, my grandpa was a stock car driver, and his father was maybe the most famous stock car driver of the early 20th century. True story. I just learned this, by the way, the last time I went out to dinner with my mom. It was like, what's great grandpa's name? And whatever, we compared notes. It was crazy. Luke Korolovich Art. My mom, the cow art flutist, has more of a verified military record in the Army than Mark Kelly, Tim Walz, and your boy Zach combined. Listen to Marty Robbins, My Own Native Land, America First anthem against giving too much aid to ungrateful countries. He was also a Goldwater supporter. All great Americans were. Based as fuck. Oh, based as fuck. Mohammed W. Bush, is our children leering? You want to go ahead and read that?
Yankee lover, if anyone wonders why Cubans vote con, look at how the left is celebrating Venezuelans. They've been treating Cubans like this for decades.
Indeed. Absolutamente.
Lapko, talk to a lefty and compare the Maduro raid to tiny hats grabbing Eichmann in 1960. Will they side with the Nazis or bagels? Such fun. YouTube censored.
Yep.
Crossover maniac. Maduro proved the old saying correct. You can vote yourselves in communism, but you can't vote it out. Yep. Jeremy, if Rubio does a good job, many SA economic
South American, I think he means.
Yeah, South American will leave for Venezuela. From Ecuador, Colombia, imagine the housing and healthcare market.
Yeah. I hope there's a Milei type figure in Venezuela that would be of great benefit to them right now. Tofu's Revenge, thank you very much, man.
Jegs Dino God, Trailer Park Boys, Jail 2, guest stars Maduro and Walls.
Indeed. My brain is short circulating.
Generalissimo Liberty. Have you seen the memes coming out of all of this? Trump is working too fast for the Dems, and they are bleeding, and we can stop them.
It's wild. They can't even react in time. Again, this is the flood the zone strategy we talked about ever since election day. By the time the Democrats figure out a counter argument for one thing, he's already moved on to 3 other things. They can't react. This is why the divide MAGA strategy is so incredibly important to the left. And there's some evidence it's working to a degree heading into the midterms. But again, as I pointed out many times, if the midterms go bad, Trump's not on the ballot. It'll be tough to spin it as a referendum on Trump. The Republicans have run way behind Trump in how many election cycles now? 10 or more points, even when they wind up winning. It's going to be tough to spin it as an indictment of Trump. It really, really is.
Red Wolf Corps revamped. Could you explain really quickly why Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia makes socialists and communists head spin like crazy? I know he's an Islamic monarch posing as an oil tycoon, but is that it?
They're not the only ones with criticisms of Saudi Arabia, though. Many people on the right justifiably have criticisms of it, so I don't know. Mites, I'm Iranian American. This is a show of gratitude for how you've stuck up for us before. Well, Godspeed, and my prayers are with your people. I hope you don't have any family stuck over there. That is a rough time. You know, and whenever I say this, it's always, oh, you think that because you talk to a few expats from Iran, you know what the situation is. Man, sadly, the people that I know in Iran are still in Iran. It's not easy to get out of Iran, guys. It's not even easy to get in Iran, to go visit people over there. It's really difficult. And when you go there, you're never sure if you're going to be let out. Like I remember one of the people I know in Iran wanted to visit their uncle in Chicago. And the Iranian government kept tabs on them the entire time. Not only did it take the better part of a year to get permission to leave Iran, they were giving her the hairy eyeball the entire time. Go ahead and read that.
Paul Allen. I recommend a French movie, Les Sentinelles. 2025, a diesel punk alt World War I movie, Rocketeer style power armor, and lots of World War I gun prawn.
Ooh, sounds awesome. Sounds like Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, but not shit.
Gamey Corporation. Playing my first Fallout game, New Vegas, and it's crazy how much dealing with brain-dead Rome LARPers mirrors real life. GG Evan. If the Fallout show is anything to go off of, that little ditty you played earlier is never going to appear in a Fallout game. They've already made Mr. House out to be Elon.
Indeed.
Lazy ass writing. Bar One Studios. Our NGOs have nothing to teach the Middle East about sodomy. They're already the goats.
They're in the goats.
Lapko. Trump broke his campaign promise. I'm just done. He got me on his side for deportations. Now he's bringing more Venezuelans in. What a betrayal.
Say it right. Venezuela.
Venezuelans. Patriarch Andrew, at this point, how long do you think it'll be before either Cuba or Colombia falls?
I think Trump is giving the side eye to Mexico right now because of what's going on over there. I mean, their people
clean up your act.
Yeah, they're having some domestic disorder, shall we say, right now.
Blitz systems. I'm sure all those billions siphoned back to Somalia has made Mogadishu the jewel of Africa.
Right?
Right? Wrong.
All they need is money.
Emperor Creatine, my grandmother, was from Venezuela. Venezuela.
There we are.
My dad said if she were still with us, she'd get up and dance with joy at 100+. She's dancing in heaven, no doubt.
No doubt.
Snacks. Trump told Maduro the blindfold was for the piñata.
Piñata. Hoovy.
Read this next one. I want to bring something up.
Please do. I'm over at a homeless shelter in Orlando. They get not only taxpayer dollars, but they also get millions in private donations. We eat leftovers and donations from Disney World and Christian volunteers. Yeah, that was my experience volunteering, doing a lot of homeless volunteering and stuff too. State subsidized stuff didn't wind up anywhere near the hands or mouths of actual homeless people. The state, I'll tell you the state's role in the homeless situation, those nice clean needles that people are shooting up with, and that keeps them homeless. That's the government's role in homelessness. They're never there funding the soup kitchens. They're never even there volunteering, unless, of course, a politician is running for re-election. Then he might show up for a photo op or something. I'll tell you who shows up to the homeless shelter, who shows up to the soup kitchen to actually serve people around the holidays. It's the dreaded right-wing waspy Christians, those people, those ones. I never saw Habitat for Humanity build a house in Mexico. They were always building them here in the first world.
Funny how that works.
Dreaded right-wing Christians. They were the ones who were down there in the dirt actually building the houses. Benjamin's prime. These Spanish third world dictators keep popping off at the mouth, and Trump's going to start collecting them like Pokemon cards. Who's that hegemon? What are you looking at?
We'll bring it up and we'll watch it.
Hey, what's this?
Enough of the Maduro talk. We've got a big game in front of us. Seattle versus my Niners. Bang, bang. Niners game.
What?
I just thought that was a bit amusing.
How did Maduro dress like Dr. Disrespect without even knowing who he is? How did that happen?
Oh, and probably do this one too. I haven't even seen this one.
Oh, yeah.
On that goddamn red bow tie. Take that little jar of Vaseline, get your spider grip on it, take off the cover. 2 fingers in there, dip it in. Put it underneath your neck, all over your chest, your ass.
What?
I need you faster than anybody else out there. Remember, we're going down the water slide of success.
Anyway.
I hope Delta Force played The Mob Rules by Black Sabbath. Preceding events only reinforce my conclusion that foreign policy is judged on efficacy. That's why Don the Roadrunner pulls these W's out of nowhere and Demi Coyote's Rube Goldberg machine backfires so often. Results matter. Thank you very much. This is why I wait to opine on what, okay, the operation, support it completely. What our long-term presence is in the region, I'm reserving judgment because I don't want us to have a sustained presence, like maybe a base or something like that. I could understand us having soldiers there, that kind of thing. But I don't want us having a long-term embroilment, shall we say, in the region, right? I don't think that'll be necessary because you already had someone who won the last election. That is, by the way, why if there is indeed, if these reports that people are throwing at us about there being like a leftist coup against Rodriguez, if this is true, that's China. That's China. Because that's their only card to play. Think about it. They can't bring military assets against U.S. military assets. That would trigger World War III. And plus, they don't really have the means to. But you know what they do have? Lots and lots of commies that they bought off in Venezuela. It wasn't just limited to Maduro, folks. There's lots of commies in that country. And who's paying them? Beijing. This is their only card to play. I could see that being it. That would be my first instinct. But make no mistake, Rodriguez was elected. So, Dianiki Katon. Delta missed a golden opportunity not dropping some dead weight out of that Black Hawk, right? Flown over with Bernie. Go ahead and read that.
Donkey Punch Bandit, thank you for the 50. The one citing Iraq and Afghanistan, especially in the context of nation building, and liken it to Venezuela, forgot to ignore the fact that the former two had fragmented tribal people.
Yeah.
The latter has a culturally homogenous society. Makes it easy.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons Saddam was even in power, was because of how fractious they were. Plus, not having a Islamic blood feud going on in the country is a boon, for sure.
Hunter Williams, Grima Wormtongue. But my lord, Sauron is our friend. He is based. What about the dwarves?
Why do you lay these troubles on an already troubled mind? Do you not see that Gloystein is wearied by your malcontent, your warmongering? Sorry.
Your GDP.
Your G... All right. Apollo. Isn't some of this somewhat similar to when we nabbed Noriega? Yup. It was like I was like 6 or 7 when that happened, so I could be wrong. No shit. Oh shit. All right.
The jackals of Terra Argentum, between the Somali fraud money likely being funneled to terror groups and narco-terrorist cash going to Congress. Where are the treason trials?
Indeed. Well, why do you think Walls is bailing out of the airplane?
Paul Allen. Maduro getting grabbed played out exactly the same way as the beginning of Air Force One, 1997, where Jurgen Prochnow gets snatched by Prochnow gets snatched by Spec Ops.
Get off my plane. Academic Agent used to be a great Lulbert channel for Austrian economics and turned woke writer. Many such cases, man. Some people have been completely busted by the podcast sphere and have demonstrated quite clearly that they do not possess the ability to think for themselves.
Panda Palace, Trump. Please be my guest.
Get in the carbonite, Maduro. We have the best carbonite in the world. You're going to love it. Believe me. Believe me. And once again, folks.
I was frozen today.
It never gets old.
Patrick Cords. I love watching the Eurotrash right in our country lose their shit about this. Like they are showing their pro-socialist tendencies finally. The anti-Jew shit is just a talking point to hide commies.
Yeah, essentially. All right.
Marina Alver. Back before the embassy was evacuated, the Yemen government at the time controlled the GOT supply to keep the people mellow. Guess same goes for pot. Oops, sorry. Hit my mic.
Well, this is one of the, it's not just money. I mean, China loves the money that comes in from trafficking fentanyl, but it's not just the money. It's also, it hurts us. That's why they're doing this. Again, I did a whole video on this. I strongly recommend you go watch that rant. I went into great detail on how many Chinese nationals year to year have been apprehended at just the Arizona border. It jumped from a few thousand to a few tens of thousands in 1 year. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. So the numbers are climbing, and they're climbing for a reason, and it's always attached to fentanyl trafficking. There's a reason for that. It lulls our population into a stupor. And if we're lulled into a stupor, we're not paying attention to anything. We're not manning our borders. We're not voting for politicians who man the borders. I mean, it's the old 1960s check out and drop out. Marx was ethnically Jewish and spiritually black. Gibbs.
Asher. People keep pointing out Trump pardoned a drug lord a month ago. Maduro is about oil, not drugs. Not realizing one likely led to the other.
Not only that, but dude, gas prices are falling so much right now. We're doing all right on our oil reserves. We really don't need Venezuela's oil. I mean, it's nice to have. It's nice to have. And I'm sure Trump, as vocal as he was about us not seizing the Iraqi oil fields, which wound up being a mistake, for all the talk, that's another thing about this. The people who are traumatized by the Iraq war bought into the no war for oil bullshit, right? They thought that was a war for oil. But we know, based on the fact that Trump was elected, that that wasn't true. Because one of the things that he ran on was George W. Bush was stupid not to seize the oil fields because who got them? ISIS. That's what happened. The existence of ISIS is evidence that we didn't seize the oil fields. It wasn't a war for oil. So the people who are proceeding from this idea that Venezuela is like Iraq or it's this and it's that, not only is their narrative about Venezuela false, their narrative about Iraq is false. It was not a war for oil. And by the way, there were weapons of mass destruction. That doesn't mean it was justified. I still kind of oppose the war. But the two biggest talking points about the Iraq war, no weapons of mass destruction, and it was a war for oil, were both lies. They were both lies. There were weapons of mass destruction. They were moved. They were used in Syria later on. The former head of the Iraqi Air Force said after the Syria gas attacks, hey, by the way, those were our weapons of mass destruction. You were all lied to. Your entire worldview. The fact that you keep comparing every single military incursion to Iraq is based on a false narrative about fucking Iraq. Midwits.
Let's see. Grant Ferris, hey Razor. Unrelated, but should I feel guilty if I don't beat old NES or SNES games like Mega Man or Super Mario?
Right. Oh, here we go. Here we go. There wasn't any WMD, you fuckwit. October 1st, 2003, over $100 million worth of chemical warheads and biological weapons were apprehended on the Kuwait-Iraq border while by Kuwaiti Interior Minister, who only recently died, by the way, Mr. Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah. You can look that up, you little bitch. Shut the fuck up and remember who the fuck you're talking to. I didn't just start doing punditry this last week. I've been talking about this shit for almost 20 years. Anyways.
Stephen Nizek. The funniest thing I noticed about the Maduro reaction is how much noted libertarian Luke Rudkowski, was offended that we would remove an authoritarian. I kind of feel it's a contradiction.
Right? There's a lot of that, dude.
Grant Ferris, hey Razor, unrelated, but should I feel guilty if I don't... Wait, this one again?
What? Oh, did I accidentally bring that up twice? It's Fat Electrician, and I don't think they just like. Yeah, I don't know. They were not pleased with with me on Twitter a while back, not that long ago. I said it during your Perfect Dark stream, but I'll repeat myself here. Your 2019 Venezuela video has aged like a fine wine. Ave Cicero and Godspeed, gents. If you want to watch that, by the way, I highly recommend it as a little bit of a primer on what we've been talking about here tonight. It's called Venezuela Feels the Burn, B-E-R-N. Go watch it. I talked about a lot of this stuff, to a degree, predicted some of this stuff.
John Horn, thank you for the 20. I just realized many of my favorite entertainers died last year. Ozzy, the Hulkster, Julian LaFay, and of course, George Foreman. Losing Big George stung the most.
That sucks. We did lose a lot of really great people.
We did.
So tell me about, Thief VR, right?
Ripoff Productions, LLC. Fun question. If Battletech ever got a high budget movie or TV show, would you want it to be all in English or go full artsy fartsy lore accurate and have everyone speak in the appropriate language for their nation and culture?
I'd probably go with some of them would be bilingual because that's actually lore accurate. Lore accurate Battletech is everybody speaks English because that was the language that took everyone into space.
Yeah.
But everybody also speaks, like in House Merrick, they also speak Hungarian. They also speak whatever, Farsi, blah, blah, blah. In House Steiner, they also speak German, French, whatever. And so you would have people with like German accents who could speak German in House Steiner. You would have people with Japanese accents who could speak Japanese in House Kurita. That's how I would do it. And there would probably be scenes where people in House Kurita are having conversations in Japanese because that happens in the novels and shit. It happens all the time. That's how I would handle it. What about you, Taryn?
I would say, yeah, mention that everyone's bilingual, but just have English be the main. I mean, you don't want to overcomplicate things for a TV show, right?
Exactly.
James Lee, when they ask one Venezuelan about the U.S. only wanting VZ oil.
Yeah, we heard about this.
So what do you think the Russians and Chinese want? Recipes? Yeah.
God, it was so brilliant. Care to elaborate on the Mark Kelly fake astronaut stuff? Everything I say says he flew to space in 2001 and wasn't politically active until almost 10 years later. I want to be right when I hate him. Taryn, appreciate. When I say fake astronaut, the thing he's most famous for is he took part in a pilot program where he was chosen for NASA, not because he's such a great pilot. He was chosen because he's a twin. He has an identical twin. Forget what his brother's name is. His brother's a much better pilot than he is. And so he was selected, his brother was selected to go into space, to fly into space. And the purpose for him being chosen is they wanted to study the effects of anti-gravity on identical physiology. So Mark Kelly remained on Earth while his brother went to space. Yes, later on, Mark Kelly famously went to space. He left his half-dead wife's recovery bedside, by the way, after she had been shot to go to space, but that was later on. What he is known for is being the only astronaut to be famous for remaining on Earth. So when he waves the flag and says, I went to space, it's like, yeah, later for like a milk run, but you are famous for not fucking going to space. This is what I mean when he says a fake astronaut. He's a clown. He's a complete clown.
Dreadnought Logan, hear me out. $1 a gallon by October. Please, Trump. El de Gusto.
Oh.
Razor, if things go well, the depressed Persian tow truck man might not be so depressed.
Oh, that's one of my favorite Mad TV skits. 15 people. They all use the same shower. You know what the drain looks like after 15 people use the shower? It's very dirty. It's very hairy. It's like, Madonna's Klamalachacha.
Scotty Johnson, this is off topic. Did you see the found Dave Walker with Sabbath footage that was found?
Yep.
Primark Vulcan, sad thing about Mercenaries 3 getting canceled back in the day was screenshots of the development indicating it was going to be set in Cuba.
Yep. All right, there we go. Blow it at your ass, Dex, you little bitch. I didn't say I supported the Iraq War. I said the two things that you were told about the Iraq War were lies. There were WMDs in Iraq. They were moved. We know that because they were used in Syria. And the war for oil. We didn't seize the oil field, so it wasn't a war for oil. It's not my fault you can't admit you were lied to. Your entire worldview is based on a lie. And that's why you keep reverting to every single war is the Iraq War, because you're still stuck in that 2003 rock the vote, Green Day, American idiot ass hattery. Just fucking grow the shit up and admit you were lied to. And your whole worldview is based on a lie, because your worldview is not going to improve until you can admit you were hoodwinked. Jesus. And it's not a small number of retards who believe this nonsense. Again, I didn't support the Iraq War for separate reasons. For many of the reasons that we've cited tonight. You were already in the middle of an Islamic blood feud. You had the omnipresent tribalism was going to prevent any government from being able to actually achieve something resembling peace. It was destined to be a quagmire. Saying there were WMDs in Iraq doesn't mean you supported the war. It means I acknowledged a basic, irrefutable fact. There were WMDs in Iraq. We were all lied to by the media. End of fucking rant. Is Israel being used as a diversion on the right? No, but it's being used as a little bit of an edge with people who are a wedge, rather, with certain people who just have an antipathy toward Israel. Hey, Razor, thanks for your prayers on my transplant. Yeah, Godspeed. I bought Thief VR just out of morbid curiosity, but haven't played it yet. Thoughts? I haven't hooked up my VR. I'm kind of dreading it. Honestly, I think I'm avoiding it at this point because it's in the Thief 4 engine. You know what I mean? Like, this is my favorite game series of all time. And Thief 4 is one of the worst games I've ever played. So playing a VR version of it, you know what I mean? I'm dreading the disappointment that comes. You ever have that where you have a game, you know you have to play it, and you're just dreading it?
It's like, please, for the love of God, be good.
Yeah.
Stealth Creations, one connection I can draw on the Groypers is they are somewhat of a branch of off from Con Inc. Oop.
Sorry, I had to see that. But yes, they were
Con Inc. as libertarians were from Ayn Rand's objectivism ideal.
Yeah, a little bit. Boy, Ayn Rand hated libertarians, by the way. For the Lulberts and the objectivists who are opposing this, actually, I want to show this before we go off air here. I posted this on X. This is one of the most base things anyone has ever written. A nation that violates the rights of its own citizens cannot claim any rights whatsoever, Rand insisted. The right of the self-determination of nations applies only to free societies or to societies seeking to establish freedom. It does not apply to dictatorships. Not only did dictatorships lose moral standing, according to Rand, but they opened themselves to just invasion by rights-upholding nations. Dictatorship nations, she wrote, are outlaws. She believed any free nation, quote, had the right to invade Nazi Germany, had the right to invade Soviet Russia, Cuba, or any other slave pen. When and if it so chooses, by the way, at the end. I forgot to highlight that part. The lulberts who are opposing this are clueless, especially the Randites, who think that, I'm supposed to oppose any military incursion. This woman said it was justifiable morally to invade a communist nation just for being communist. Just for the shits and giggles, folks. She didn't give a fuck about your lulbert fuck fantasy.
God bless that woman. The more I hear about her, the more I like her.
I know. I'm not an objectivist. I disagree with her on religion and abortion and a lot of other things. But man, was she based on certain things.
Guys, I just got here. Can you start over? Sure. Hey, guys, welcome to the RazörForce offensive.
Yes. Okay.
The Mex-Italy couple. Hey, Razor, have you heard about the proposal from Senator Mike Lee from Utah about privateering U.S. citizens to pirate drug boats and guard the Gulf of America?
You lost me at Mike Lee. It's almost as cringe as Massey. The more I study communist economies, the more I realize it's the same business model as gotcha games, where coins from the games suck and the good stuff has to be bought by real money from the outside, right?
Blitz Systems, Mr. Walls, you're about to experience the famed hospitality of the Somalians. Electronic waste fires, chilled cow urea, ripe rat on a stick.
Ripe rat on a stick. And they call it a communist hellscape. All right.
Whew. Action call. Can Venezuela's problems be on Jimmy Carter? Didn't his organization certify Venezuelan elections for Chavez, then admit he knew the outcome was wrong, but allowed certification to keep the peace?
Was it really to keep the peace? With how chummy Jimmy Carter was with communists, we go watch our little short about Jimmy Carter being a ghoul, not a great man. We talked about his connections to Jim Jones and his wife. Jim Jones was her personal spiritual advisor. Jim Jones wasn't a reverend. He was a communist, right? And the People's Temple, the Jonestown, was not mass suicide. It was revolutionary suicide. They committed suicide out of protest of capitalism. That was all the legacy of Jimmy Carter. So did he certify that to keep the peace, or because Jimmy Carter was halfway to being a commie anyway, and his wife may have been an outright commie?
Let's see. Garrett, anyone else remember those pictures of BLM founders posing with Maduro and how Venezuela funded BLM's founding?
Yeah.
The find out was overdue. God fucking speed boy.
Patricia Cullors, who was the head of BLM for a while there, she gave an interview saying she was a trained Marxist in Venezuela.
I remember that. God.
I played that clip in more than one rant.
Frog Jupiter, have you heard of At Memory of South Vietnam? It's a history channel that explains the Vietnam War from a South Viet perspective, dispels the commie lies.
No. I pray to God this stupid era is over. Right?
Congolian, America would like your arepas recipe.
Yes.
Where are the empanadas?
We must secure the future of the white race with the arepas recipes.
Intrinsic Dark, Trump on Doom. We don't recognize him as the legitimate ruler of Latveria. Victor should watch his ass.
You should watch his ass.
Aaron, We just got rid of the biggest pain in the ass in our hemisphere while weakening our adversaries in less time than it takes to beat Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
What is Maduro? A filthy little pile of commie. Hey, Trump is a California expat. I just feel it needs to be said. California has oil, and we know where Newsom sleeps every night. Not a bad idea. I like the way you think. Go ahead.
He fastify? Whatever. Greenland has been neglected by the insane Danish government of the moment. You can have all the
coast. We keep your uranium, gold, and diamond mines. There we go.
Lynn Hero, I see so many people compare this to Iraq and Afghanistan, excuse me. But is this not more comparable to what we did in Korea and West Germany?
It's like a more, I would compare it to something really analogous to the first Trump regime. And that would be what he did in Syria. It's like a more elaborate version of what happened in Syria. It kind of cools off our adversaries. Militarily, it's not actually that big a deal. Like, it's not a full-scale war or anything. You just bomb the shit out of some stuff, grab the asset, and simultaneously, you kind of put all of your enemies in the cooler, right? Syria wound up being really wise and circumspect because Putin had mercenaries on site that he wasn't supposed to have there. So Putin was real quiet about Syria, real quiet. And people were claiming it was going to start World War III, including, I got sucked into that. Like I said earlier, the difference is I could admit that I got hoodwinked by that. I got caught up in that. And I decided I wasn't going to make that mistake again. It turns out Trump kind of knows what he's doing.
Dave, there are a lot of Venezuelan migrants in Colombia, and they are not liked there.
Yeah.
Why SharpTube? The funniest part is Trump isn't even anywhere near to go full ruthlessness against commies. Proof? Our taxes still pay for their due process.
True enough. Will Trump do it for New York? Ooh. From your lips.
You better watch his ass.
Better watch his ass.
The Black Nothing. We're actually going to need to redraft the Red Star and Moon Star laws. This infiltration of the U.S. needs to end. Sonic Boomers. Milei is the perfect ideal libertarian. Talks and has the beliefs of one, but he does the thing called actually doing shit.
And tellingly, is he never Trump? No. He's never had a big public meltdown about Trump. He's posed for photos with him. He's praised Trump. He's fine with him. The lulberts, I think what we really have is a bunch of lulberts who are convenient. They're lulberts of convenience. They just need a position to criticize Trump that isn't on the left. That's all they want. That's all they need. Javier Milei is an actual libertarian. This is what an actual libertarian looks. If this is what libertarians were, I'd be tempted to become a libertarian.
Season Pixels. Rage, do you think Petro of Colombia is next? And how long until Berkeley, whatever, calls Trump and offers to put him in CSOT?
All right. I've said a few times tonight, I think he has his eye on Mexico more so.
Kevin Spears, stupid companies would give you a strike for a song. It makes people go check it, thus generating buzz. They would make more cash.
I've said this for a long time, but, I'll tell you a little secret. YouTube cut deals with these companies, the people who file the copyrights. So like whatever the record company is. And the record companies make less money on that deal than Google does. So Google gets a better split of the ad revenue than if they leave a video like mine or someone else's alone, because the deal that they have with YouTubers favors the YouTuber more. It's a scam. It's a money scam. They make more money if they allow spurious copyright complaints than if they just allow the video to stay up and it winds up being popular and it plays ads. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been.
Emperor Creatine. By the way, Maduro had a whole children's cartoon in which he was a superhero called Super. I'm just gonna say Super Bigot mustache. It had merch and everything.
Nice.
Lynn Hero, jokes aside, this still feels like a fucking dream. Is this your real? I thank God every day we live in this reality. Godspeed to you all.
And you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
Steel Manning, if we take Cuba and hold their cobalt mines and hold Venezuela's oil, the U.S. basically controls most of the world's energy.
Yep.
Kingfire, Trump should have given Maduro the Pinochet pass. Steel Manning, look up Mad TV's drunk president sketch, Pure Trump.
Love it. Love it.
Why Sharp Tube? I like how more time passes, the more 47 appears cold and motionless with this lovely zero F given attitude. Glorious.
Yeah. In connection with that Mad TV tweet, dude, man, the thing that I love about them is because they were taped, they couldn't react to like news stories the day of, like SNL could. So if you go back and watch Mad TV, it's aged way better because like SNL videos from back then are like, hey, it's Will Ferrell making fun of George W. Bush for the 100th time because he said a thing that people will forget in a week, right? Whereas Mad TV had to make broader points about geopolitics and culture and stuff. So you go back and watch the, and this is kind of, you know, false narrative, but the Steve Jobs skit about the Iran and the Iraq. It's a new product from Apple. It's called the Iraq, and it's this giant analogy for the Iraq war and Afghanistan and all of that shit that was happening at the time. It hasn't aged that well, but it's aged better than SNL's commentary from that period.
Ace Walls was not a weekend warrior, that a disrespect to NG men and women, mainly because unlike Timmy, when they got the call to go to Iraq, they went.
Right? Oh, but I've seen him work a shotgun. That man would have been lethal.
Richard Slammer. Gentlemen, do you have any thoughts about MTV discontinuing its music video channels? Its shambling of a corpse still continues playing reality TV.
You know what it is it's just a surrender to YouTube is what it is. Music videos are arguably more relevant than ever. It's just they're on demand. We can watch them whenever we want. You see a popular music video on YouTube and it's millions upon millions of views. Way more than those music videos got back in the 80s and 90s at the height of MTV. Music videos ain't dying. MTV is. Their business model aged so poorly after the mid 90s when they started phasing out music videos and everything. They basically conceded the ground to YouTube and they have no one to blame but themselves. They decided to jump on Teen Mom and shit instead of clinging to the thing that they pioneered. They probably wouldn't be doing away with these channels if they had stuck to their guns, but that's not what MTV does. They were always corporate whores right from the beginning. Is half Iranian. That doesn't surprise me.
The Tard Saint Trump. Oh, go ahead.
With his one trick, I will make idiots defend a murderous dictator. Believe me.
Why Sharp Tube? Can't wait till Mayorkas starts whining too. We haven't heard that MFing creep in a while. Have we? Or did I space out?
He did.
Ultros. Kojima was soying out on X about the arrest. I didn't even read anything.
I don't know how many people are not aware of this, but Hideo Kojima is just this side of an unironic communist. He is. He always has been. People pretend that he's super based because they like his video games because they have bad taste. But he's like, he's like Alan Moorian, kind of. He's like just almost Bolshevik. And he always has been. Huge admirer of Che Guevara. His games are, dude, they're steeped with pro-commie propaganda.
The Azure Nightmare. How much do we blame System of a Down for millennials getting brain rotted about terror wars, revenge of the Bush?
Yep.
Zerp derp. Can I get a video proving everything we know about Iraq war was wrong? My friends are blackpilling due to this thing.
It's not, first off, like, you don't even need a video about why what we know about Iraq was wrong, because this is not analogous to Iraq at all. Like, there's no similarity at all.
Mad Cat, love your stream. Keep up the great work. The Mad Cat is the best mech.
Godspeed.
Golden Fleece, Trump emerging from a pool of oil. My Caracas, my oil, my dune.
Wide establishing shot.
Bushy, Venezuela imports 80% of its food. Due to the instability, no ship will willingly dock there. Are you ready for Twitter commies to smugly point to it and say,
Oop. Right. Oh, sorry. And say, socialism was working before Trump when the famine hits.
Right.
Probably. They probably will try that. Of course, one needs to ask why do they have to import 80% of their food? Michelle Tourneau, if the Iranian protesters managed to oust Khamenei, should America help get Pahlavi back into power? Under the Shah, Iran was a Western ally before the 79 revolution. That's true. That's why I asked. The Shah has a hereditary right to rule. It would be, and I would suspect that would be the direction Iran would go. The people, there would certainly be a sizable contingent of the people who would demand it. It'd be fascinating if we lived through that. That'd be absolutely wild.
Frog Jupiter. The Middle East wars were for oil. Me, I wish. Do you know how cheap my gas bill would be?
No shit.
$1 gas would have made it worth it.
Dude, instead, that era was marked by some of the highest gas prices I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you would remember, but like 2007, dude, shit. We were up to like almost $7 a gallon.
Yeah, I don't really remember exactly how much.
I remember I was working at a store, and we had to have a store meeting. And so people had to drive from all over the city. And Phoenix is huge, y'all. Like, some of those people had to drive from a long way away. So they literally paid out money to everybody who showed up to the meeting because gas prices were so damn high, just to compensate them for having to fuel their cars to make the store meeting. That's how bad gas prices were in 2007.
The man with no name called Wyatt Nelson. The military operation played out better than Biden pulled out of Afghanistan. No Americans left behind.
None, and no fatalities.
Joel, have you noticed that libertarians tend to just be contrarian to the party in power?
Unless, of course, they're Democrats. The prominent libertarian accounts that I follow, not all of them, some of them are real based, were mighty quiet under Biden, but Trump does something they don't agree with, and they fly off the handle. Reliably, too.
I thank you for setting me straight on Iraq. I can easily admit it because I'm not mentally slowed in development.
And there's no downside in admitting that you were lied to about Iraq, because it doesn't mean you have to support the Iraq war. There were dozens more reasons why we shouldn't have been in Iraq than some bullshit about there not being WMDs and some bullshit about it being a war for oil, neither of which was true. Those were just the convenient reasons that the Michael Moores of the world ran with. They were convenient talking points.
Big Dog Savage. Even when gas prices are down, they won't here in California. Not with fucking Newsom in charge.
Got it, man. Yeah. Victory needs no explanation. Defeat allows none. Thank you, Jem Hadar.
DRT is king. Also, Saddam used WMDs against the Kurds during the Clinton admin, but we ignore that in history. Mm-hmm. I do not support a Kurdish state, as they have fused Islamism and communism into an evil fusion.
Yeah, people forget that under Clinton, we almost went to war with Iraq in the late 90s. One of the reasons we didn't was optically it looked really bad because it looked like Clinton was trying to get Lewinsky out of the headlines. This would have been around 98 or so. Clinton was talking about, dude, George W. Bush wound up going, like, they tried to make it him trying to continue his father's war, but the truth was he was continuing the war Bill Clinton wanted to start but didn't.
Robert Books. We played Rock You Like a Hurricane after an underway replenishment during Katrina relief.
Nice.
Dave, Razor, you should check out the song Guyana Punch by the Judies. It's about the Jones Massacre.
Oh, sweet.
Fear the Dwarves. U.S. military styled on Eastern supplied AA systems.
Anti-air systems.
Anti-air. And we did it while they were in the country for talks just to rub it in. Pure cinema. People don't know.
There were Chinese
officials. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There were Chinese officials there at the time.
Yeah.
Maxentius Decimus. Have you ever seen Babylon 5?
We both have, and we love it.
Once or twice. Every time I watch MSM, I think of the propaganda network ISN News.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just old.
Which is ironic because if you follow J. Michael Straczynski on social media, his feed is ISN News now. That man has the most incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome I may have ever seen. Modern Minuteman movement.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Fort, keeping me entertained listening on a 24-hour drive.
Yes, we are Fort Entertainment. Yes. Proud to be a part of it. Oh.
Super Zippy. I remember in 2023, regular gas was $10 a gallon in San Luis, whatever. Also, Valero took a $1 billion loss in closing the refinery and leaving California this year.
Oh, wow.
Dinner Mints. Kojima has always sucked. Both of my trans brothers have always... Wow. Punctuation, please. For the love of God.
It needed a comma there, but...
My trans brothers have always been fascinated by those games. Thank you, Razor. Godspeed.
Godspeed, sir.
Omega Tungsten. Razor, do you think now this will have a positive impact on our local and federal elections? Also, seeing leftists openly support Maduro is something.
Yeah, to address that directly, I think what's going on in Minneapolis is going to have a more positive effect on that. Because some of this money that was purloined, shall we say, wound up back in elections. You can quote me on that. There's no question. So I think that's as great as it is. Maduro, who has paid off our politicians, I think Minneapolis, Minnesota is going to have a greater effect on that. And what we uncover now in other states as a result of what happened in Minnesota.
And Mr. Flynn, new president of Venezuela, Donaldo Juan Trompez.
Believe me, lo siento.
Coconuts. Fuck communal mentality by Pissed by Arrival is also a great anti-commie song recommendation, if only for that intro.
Primal Fear's Cancel Culture just a couple of years ago was an absolute banger.
The Azure Nightmare. I'm also a libertarian. I still voted Trump 3 times. Got what I voted for. Cover me with medals.
Godspeed. You're one of the good ones.
Patton. It took Reagan invading Grenada to show the world America can get things done when allowed. Breaking the Vietnam spell, I think Trump did it again.
And people forget, like, there was a path to victory in Vietnam. We decided not to take it, right? It was similar. Iraq was similar in that sense, in that we were kind of trying. We were shamed into fighting a politically correct war. It's why you'll hear from genuine Vietnam vets, we weren't allowed to win. You'll hear that often from Vietnam vets and from Iraq war vets, many of whom I know.
Let's see here. Benjamis Prime. The dict in Canada threatened Trump. Threatened Trump.
Threatened Trump. I don't know what that means.
Mark
Welcome
Carney,
to
is
the
that-
yoinkening.
Ace, have you played Stalker 2? Yes, we streamed it.
Yeah, indeed. Where would you see this info about WMD? And it was reported in the media. Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah held a press conference for American media when those WMD were uncovered at the Kuwait-Iraq border. The media didn't cover it on the basis that, they were uncovered in Kuwait, not Iraq. Well, yeah, they were coming from Iraq into Kuwait, which, by the way, makes sense because Kuwait is a port. That's why Saddam invaded Kuwait originally. I should make a video essay about Jan 6th. I did originally back in the day. I did the day after Jan 6th, I think. You can find that on my channel. Maduro eats corn the long way.
AJ looks up Maduro cartoon.
It's
Shouts like
real.
Cisco.
It's real.
Frog Jupiter saying this is why I voted Hillary, because World War III.
Oh, God.
Patriotic Cat. I always enjoy hearing you and Nerdrotic talk about comics. Would you ever do some kind of comic stream to shit on Alan Moore and chat about OG comics?
That is one thing we need to start doing on the offensive. It's cool that we've got our own thing going here, and I have my little rants and raves and all that stuff. But we gotta start having guests.
Yeah,
because I know a lot of people, and it'd be cool to interview on a variety of topics. We've never had a single guest on this show, if you can believe it.
Ogre's Den Gaming.
There is a list of politicians that were taking money from Maduro. I will ping Taryn in the Discord. Jim Justice is on it. Interesting. Can you please take Alberta and Saskatchewan so the libs cry? We'll do what we can.
Atari Nobunaga. Birthday on Tuesday. Thursday. Maybe it's wishy-washy, but I would like to see you stream Earthbound or Terranigma. Two of my favorite JRPGs. Godspeed, man.
I love Earthbound.
Michael, speaking of Jimmy Carter, don't we have him to thank for the Shah being overthrown in the first place?
Si, senor. You ain't telling lies.
Mace, cannot stand soy pods sending you chats using Al Gore speak fake swearing, aka dystopianese,
right?
All because YouTube forbidden word myth and don't speak it.
That's true. Sadly, that's Google for you. Commie dictator gets yoinked. Boomer senator from Vermont and Reddit mods most affected. Thoughts and prayers. All in all, it's been a decent week. Maduro captured. Walls stepping down. The winning is too much already. Why do I dislike Kubrick? Because he's been a bad influence. Also, I don't like his movies. There's that. I have never liked Kubrick. I kind of have the same antipathy toward Kubrick that I have for Kojima. I don't like either of them at all. And they have similar sensibilities. Bad pacing, long, lingering, pseudo-artistic shots, pretentiousness. Shapiro, Tucker, and Candace spat was hilarious. Your Tucker rant was hilarious. I'm still salty that YouTube took it down. It is, I don't know if I've uploaded it to Rumble. The podcast that rant was in is on Rumble. So if you want to see that rant about Tucker Carlson and Asperdemic Agent, you can go see it on Rumble. Razor, since it's now Jan 6 where I live, thanks for streaming my 29th birthday. Also, Cicero Appreciations post. Godspeed. All right. We had chased the North Koreans to the Chinese border, and MacArthur asked for nukes to keep the Chinese out of the war. He got fired for it, and the rest is history. Funny, every single time we're about to completely close the lid on commies, whether it's Patton in East Germany or it's North Korea and MacArthur, somebody in a really, really high position claps back on him. Funny. Go watch the MacArthur video and learn about how many communists were embedded in the State Department in the 50s, by the way, in case you're curious. I'm sure it doesn't. Those two things are not related at all. All right. Carney in Canada threatened Trump. With what? A moose herd? China lost 100 billion from Maduro Latin influence. L. Sadly, their language doesn't have L's.
Frog Jupiter, the U.S. already won South Vietnam. They just needed to supply South Vietnam with oil and ammo. They didn't, and it's hard to fight wars with no gas or bullets.
True, man. Let's see here. Did you hear about the Arizona Supreme Court being evaluated after a homemade bomb was found? Evacuated, I assume you mean. No, I did not. No, I did not.
Two things. I lost the game. Hammerfall or Cryonic Temple?
Hammerfall for me, man. What a great band. And whatever happened to Comicsgate? Well, still going as far as I know. There's still people who are in the independent sphere making their comics. But folks, that's the last. That's the last. Can you believe it? What a legendary stream, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. The Marty Robbins copyright strike was absolutely worth it, but we'll re-upload it maybe on our Razor Fist Arcade channel because it'll get struck over there and whatever. We'll have to edit it over here. But until next time, before we get out of here, what do you think of Mahler and EFAP? I love Mahler. I've been on streams with Mahler, and I love the 19-hour EFAP streams. They're freaking great. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, until next time, RazörForce, for Commissar Gal, I am Generalissimo Fist. Godspeed!